honestly, one of the ways I get a lot of my video game news, if I don't see it somewhere else, though, he just spams me with things. Like, he just sent me the thing for the Xbox fridge that was already in the chat. Yeah. Oh boy, are you okay over there? Because you were coughing up a fit.
Oh, I'm fine.
Oh, okay. Have you felt yourself clearing up at all, or are things just normal?
A little bit. I mean, I think you can tell my voice is a little better.
Yeah. Well, I'm not sure if it was because your voice is better or because your connection is a little more stable.
Oh no, it's definitely my voice, my actual voice. So yeah, it's getting better. I also got some Zyzol and some cough medicine.
Hmm. Well, that's good. Oh, he doesn't have a wrench? Why doesn't Dillard have a wrench? I should fix that. Let me go fix that while we're doing this. Anyway, actually, we're live. It's that time. Welcome to the Vomitorium. I am your host, as always, The Metal, and joining me is Marsupial. Marsupial Gamer, how are you doing? Other than, coughing up a storm.
Good, pretty good. Actually, much better, I think, since I moved back to Alabama from Phoenix.
That's good.
So I'm in Alabama now, and ironically, despite the fact that it's been raining ever since I got here, I think my throat is finally clearing out.
Yeah, rain usually helps that too. Like I notice, like if my sinuses are blocked up, it's usually when it's raining that it starts to clear out.
Yeah. Well, we're getting hurricane tonight. Hurricane Zeta is going to go right through Birmingham in about, I'd say, 7 hours. I think it'll hit us.
7 hours.
So we're about to get 60 mile an hour. Yeah, about 60 mile an hour winds expected.
It's very weird weather too, right? Because like, it's been really cold here. Actually, you had to pass through, so it's been cold and rainy. You know that. And it's because we get like this weird Arctic wind is coming from one way, and now a hurricane is coming up from the other.
Yeah. Yeah, we've got the hurricane coming in. I think it's right over Louisiana right now. It's coming really fast because it's going to hit Birmingham in 7 hours. Just seems really fast to me.
Yeah.
But it's really hot here. I mean, it's been rainy, but really, really warm. So it's actually, I've been surprised because I've gone on several walks outside, and I'm like, should I put on a jacket because it's kind of cool in the house? But like as soon as I get out, I'm like, wow, it's really hot and humid. So I imagine the hurricane is not going to make it any cooler because it's coming up from the Gulf.
Well, it makes me worried about one thing. Because you know how the Great Plains have another nickname called Tornado Alley. And normally you only have to worry about this around late March through early May. April's the big season right there. But it's usually when cool weather and warm weather, like two fronts, are slamming into each other, that you might get those spiraling winds that could form a tornado. If we have cold Arctic winds coming down from one way and warm hurricane winds, because even if it doesn't pass us directly, we're going to get the tail. It always hits us. I'm right off the Gulf, right? So we're going to get warm winds coming the other way that are already in like a circular pattern. I'm just hoping we don't get any late year tornadoes, which is a very rare thing to happen, but it totally could.
Mm-hmm.
It's like everywhere you go, there's like one risky thing you have to deal with.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're right in the middle of tornado alleys, huh? I hear you.
Yeah. But
trying to get my computer to be a little less whatever. It's acting up a little bit, but hopefully it'll clear up.
Yeah, you're kind of roboting just a bit. But
Yeah, close to things.
we do have some lighter notes to talk about, though, than the possibility of hurricanes and tornadoes tearing everything apart. And that's the news we were kind of compiling in the Discord prior to going live, because it's been like over a week. I mean, technically we've only missed 2 sessions, but if you add the days in between, that's like a week and a half.
Yeah.
And we've got a lot to catch up on. Specifically, most of it came in through this Nintendo Direct that just happened. So really just stuff from today. But we've got a couple things from the past to talk about, too. What do you want to hit up first? I know you're probably going to want to talk about Zelda.
Yeah, we could save that if we got some other stuff from the last week.
Trying to remember exactly what from last week. There was the Xbox refrigerator. You want to talk about that real quick? That's a
yeah,
weird
I was just
thing.
looking at that. I don't quite understand what that's all about.
I'm not either. I saw it several times. Like, a lot of people were posting it. And I don't know. It's weird. Let me pull up the article if we're going to talk about it. No, that's a YouTube video. I don't want the YouTube video. I want the article. I'm not going to watch a YouTube video while we're streaming. Here we go. That's an Xbox fridge giveaway. That's not what I want. Hard is to find an article.
We did miss a week of the buckler.
We did. Well,
It was an
the
exciting
show
week.
did. Yeah. Here we go. Here's the article. The article, the Xbox Series X is now an actual refrigerator, which is a weird thing to do. I guess it's because people were joking that it looked like a refrigerator. I'm not sure. Yeah. My thing, who was it? There was it Razer that made a toaster? Because everybody's always joking if your computer's slow that you're playing on a toaster, if you're playing like an online game. So Razer actually went and made a Razer toaster. So this is kind of reminding me of that, except it's like a full-scale fridge. I'd be very disappointed if people who get it aren't just going to shove nothing but Mountain Dew into it.
Yeah.
Because what else would you put in a Xbox fridge? And it has an estimated value of $500, which is about the same as the console, and pretty cheap for a fridge if you think about it. Because I know people.
Yeah, that's a really cheap fridge.
You spend like what, anywhere between $1,500 to a couple grand on a fridge.
Yeah,
maybe,
easily.
Yeah, maybe even more if it's a
size?
smart fridge too. Yeah. Is it a full size? I can't
Maybe
tell from this image. All it has is the Xbox next to it, but that thing's not very good for scale. It's tiny. This might be a mini fridge.
Oh,
which
okay.
then 500 would be appropriate.
Yeah, but it also includes an Xbox.
I don't think it includes an Xbox. That would be ridiculous to
Oh.
sell both a mini fridge and an Xbox that both have the same value for one price.
I thought it was a fridge that was an Xbox. That basically you could plug it into your TV and it plays video games.
I would hope. I'm not seeing that. I think it's literally just a fridge that's designed like an Xbox.
Okay.
And it has like the glowing light in the corner.
Okay, so if it's a mini fridge that's just a fridge, that makes more sense as far as the price tag. Yeah. I thought it was a fridge that also played Xbox games.
Well, that would definitely have to be even more expensive.
Yeah. That's why I was surprised. I was like, well, I'd just buy that instead of the Xbox. Because then, you get a fridge with it too.
Yeah.
And it plays games.
And Chad says Red Bull and Monster Energy drinks.
And G Fuel.
Yeah. Yeah, I could see those being there. I was going to make some joke about if it was a fridge, at least you wouldn't have to worry about it overheating. But anybody who actually knows how compressors work is like, no, actually the outside of a fridge gets pretty hot. So the parts to the computer would probably overheat even easier if they were shoved next to it. You'd have to have like a separate compartment on the side that had its own power source. It wouldn't be worth it.
But at least if it was an Xbox the size of a fridge, they'd have a lot bigger room to dissipate the heat. So
Yeah.
problem with some of these consoles, or at least the problem in the past, has been they're so compact. It's hard for them to.
Well, that's even the problem
You know,
with this one. Have you seen how small it is?
Mhm.
It's like I think 1.5 the height of turning a disk drive on its side. It's really short.
Yeah. DL, I don't know why you couldn't. You could certainly put your PC in a fridge and
Yeah.
probably cool better.
I've seen people do that, like in college and stuff. When they were they have like this old junker, they would just open the fridge up and they'd put their PC in there and play games, which is horrible. Honestly, if you want to talk about energy efficiency, like you are burning energy doing that. But most people in college are in a
at least
dorm.
it would,
Yeah.
they're not paying for the electricity, so
Yeah,
it's
well,
like,
you are paying for the electricity.
well, not
But
directly.
yeah, I think I paid what $30 a month when I was in an apartment at college on campus.
Oh, but I mean, but if you're staying like in an on-campus dorm, though, you don't usually pay for the electricity.
Well, usually it comes in whatever the dorm's cost is.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you are paying for it. It's just at some really low rate that you don't even notice.
Yeah. Yeah, and it doesn't go up if you use more electricity.
Yeah. Though it honestly should, because
Yeah.
if you think about it, which I've been in all rates included housing for apartments before, and with utilities being the most important part to be included, you're kind of almost like socializing the cost of utilities across everybody who lives in that building.
Yeah. Yeah, see, if I did that, I would install so many Bitcoin miners
Yeah.
everywhere. I just get Bitcoin miners just like, just going night and day, just like use up so much electricity. They'd probably kick me out.
What was
like,
the
wait
movie?
a second, why is the electric bill so
Was
high?
it one of the Transformers, I think? Like maybe the second one? Where they like walk into the dorm room and there's just like computers off the wall within like the group's little common area.
Yeah.
That's what it would look like.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't cool a PC.
But yeah,
it's awful. Yeah.
I remember going into like a data center for Samsung Austin Semiconductor, and it was freezing in there. It was like walking into a refrigerator, and they just had rows and rows, racks of servers.
Oh yeah,
But like if
cool.
you stood near the server, like in the path of the air, it was like blowing hot air, like right in your face. But the whole room was just like super refrigerated.
Yeah.
So,
You gotta hit that peak low temperature because you can't go too low. Then the device is shut off. There's got to like this nice middle ground. They kind of like it in kind of like the low 40s, but you don't want to go below freezing or anything like that.
yeah, and I've heard that like usually servers and PCs in general operate at peak efficiency around 90 degrees.
Yeah, if the computer is.
If they're, if it's around 90 degrees. So, as long as it cools off below that.
Yeah. That's why usually like keeping servers in like a facility that's close to 40 but not any lower helps them stay at about 90. Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway.
Yeah.
Yes, Xbox fridge. It's just a promotion.
I guess there's like they're doing giveaways. I think that's the main thing, so you can win an Xbox fridge. Hopefully, if they're doing a giveaway, it comes with a Series X. Like that's part of it. Because to be honest, I don't think I'd want to win just an Xbox fridge. I'm not even that interested in the Series X. But if I was entering a contest for a fridge, I would want to win the Xbox with it.
Yeah, really. I don't want to just win a fridge.
Yeah. But, we got other things. That was just a little icebreaker, a pun intended.
Okay.
What's some of the other?
You want to talk about
the buckler? We could talk.
You want to talk about the buckler?
We can talk about the buckler.
Going live in what, 10 days?
I think it's 10 at this
or
point.
9?
Yeah, because he said 11. I think yesterday, so I'm assuming it's 10 at this point. Judging that the flow of time hasn't changed at all since I went to sleep. You never know for sure. But the buckler.
So does that mean Friday? Next Friday?
I think so.
Okay.
That would be 10 days, right?
I think so.
Yeah. 3 in a week. Yeah. Saturday, right?
Well, it depends. I don't know.
Does it count
Is next
today?
Wednesday 7 days or 8 days?
Yeah. Does it count today? That's the question.
Yeah.
Oh, well. We're going to confuse ourselves. Anyway, sometime next week it's going live.
Maybe Saturday.
Yeah, maybe Friday, maybe Saturday. Doesn't matter if you catch it on day one, though. You should sign up for the mailing list now. Go to Indiegogo.com and search for The Buckler. It should be the only thing that pops up. Well, I think the Canadian Shield campaign still pops up since the Buckler Ashcan was in it.
Yeah.
But the Buckler is our buddy John Dillard's character, who is kind of a spin-off parody character incepted from Rick Piper's Cross Comics Canadian Shield. And the Buckler is a guy who is kind of... he was down on his luck, right? He was trying to be a superhero, kind of like the sidekick to this Canadian Shield character. But he just really wasn't very good at anything. He's kind of in a state of arrested development. And he ends up fucking up pretty bad in his big moment of trying to impress his idol. And results in the death of the person he was trying to save. And he kind of snaps and loses as an individual. And escapes down to Texas. Which there's, Brownsville, Texas. Kind of on the border of Mexico. And there's this whole side story of that you'll be able to catch on later, but it flash forwards after his whole training montage to him coming back and redefining himself as a super villain. He's not trying to play the hero game anymore because he sucks at it. He's going to try to be good at something else, and he becomes a villain. And he is running the Winnipeg Underground, or at least he's trying. And he comes in contact with these cities' heroes that have established themselves in the meantime, known as the Gateway 4. He runs back into the Shield. He's got mobs of people after him, and he's just trying to succeed in the only way he knows how, while also trying to deal with the fact that his wife left him for the very person who exposed his misdeeds in the first place. Whole bunch of drama, chaos, and dark humor. You guys should really check it out. I've been watching the progress on it. So has Marsupu here, and I think it's really good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What do you have to say about the Buckler?
He finally got a look at his final form, possibly his final form.
yeah. He kind of has almost like a Super Saiyan moment going on.
That's right, a Super Moose Saiyan.
These
antlers. Sprouts some sort of ethereal antlers that come out.
No. Those are real antlers.
Oh, okay.
From what he said, he said there's like blood and pain and stuff as they pop out.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So they go back in.
I'm assuming so. I'm guessing it's like the first X-Men movie where Rogue asks Wolverine if it hurts, and he just says every time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But there's something coming out of his eyes. I don't know if it's smoke or light or power.
Tension.
Yeah.
It's just, the heat of the moment. He's going crazy. It's just rampage.
Yeah. That's cool. Yes, the Canadian Buckler, or just the Buckler.
Yeah. I think
Live
the book
is
just the Buckler. I can double check too.
Yeah.
I mean, you could go and sign up now, even though it's going to be live in a week. And I believe, because he was doing it before, there is an early bird special if you sign up for the mailing list. Because I did. And I don't know if I should reveal what it is. I think it's supposed to be a secret. But it'll be a cool little freebie, so you should definitely go and get that. You'll be surprised. Yeah, it's just the buckler. If you type it in, it's the first thing that shows up. I can even bring up the campaign page. You know what? We can do that. Let me bring up the campaign page.
Yeah, you can put it in the chat.
Yeah. Where is window capture? Let me make sure it's right on the right page. Yes, it is. Boom.
I can't bring up a browser right now because I'm on my spare PC right now.
Mm.
And it kind of sucks. So.
Drop this in the restream chat. It should forward it everywhere. There we go. And this is the buckler. Great art. John Dillard is doing everything, except maybe minor editing. I'm assuming it's going to go through the same process that happened with the Ashcan, where he's going to ask us to come in there and just make sure that his grammar's okay. But other than that, he is doing everything. He even has a few pages up at the bottom, just the inks. I've seen these pages in colors. They look amazing. I mean, the inks look good enough as it is, but the pages look great in color. And you should definitely sign up. These scenes right here is there's another story in between after the whole Brownsville training trip. He comes back up to the Arctic, and he's looking for this totem, which is very important to this story. But you don't need to have experienced this other mid-story that he will tell at some point in time to get it, because you see Harrington right around here. I think I can I pull this up? It looks like it's clickable, but it's not pulling up. Maybe when the campaign goes live. But Harrington here got the totem from the buckler, and he's chasing him down. And it kind of just picks up right after their Arctic expedition, and Buckler finds out right here. These aren't spoilers. This is the setup for the book. That Harrington is seeing his wife, and they're getting married, and that caused a lot of tension. And then from there on out, you basically are learning the story fresh. Like, you're getting into this really intense dark comedy drama. It's gonna be a lot of fun. You should check it out. I can't say that enough. And of course,
it's amazing.
Dillard does have access to the chat. He could come in here and talk about it all he wants. And if he does at some point, we'll come back to it.
Penciling by John Dillard, inks by John Dillard, color by John Dillard.
Yeah.
And writing by the metal. No, just kidding.
No.
Writing by John Dillard. He's a one-man team.
Yeah, it's a one-man army, just like the Buckler, going on a rampage through a mob of people.
The Buckler, soon to be a major motion picture, soon to be a major AAA video game title, I'm sure.
That would be great. I would totally play a major AAA video game for the Buckler. It'd have to be like a modern beat 'em up, I guess, in many ways. Probably like a Yakuza game. That would be great. Yeah. He's covered
like
in
3D?
sawdust and schmegma. Yeah, like a Yakuza. If you're gonna do a major AAA, like if it was indie title, probably like a classic beat 'em up. But if it was gonna be like big budget AAA, like a Yakuza game, just like put him in Winnipeg, have all the events happen, and then just have him come across like mobs of people, baddies, stuff like that. He could pick up like a lamppost and beat somebody with it.
Just like Ghost of Tsushima, except it's Buckler. With his bare hands. That's right. You can go into Super Saiyan Moose mode.
Yeah. Well, have you ever played one of the Yakuza games?
No.
Oh, well, so this is why, to me, it's the first thing that comes to my head. They're good games. I do recommend it. If you've never picked up the franchise, for everybody listening too, Yakuza 0 on Steam is a more recent version of the game. It's a good jumping on point, and then you could go back and play the other ones. I have it.
Mm-hmm.
And they are modern day versions of beat 'em ups, right? Just in the 3D environment. And you are, obviously from the name applies, you're in the Yakuza and you're dealing with gang members and stuff like that. And all kinds of crazy stuff happens. Like, you can pick up a fish and beat people with it. It's that type of game, right? Like you expect in old beat 'em ups how you something breaks, there's a bat on the ground, a stop sign falls over, whatever, you can pick it up and start using a weapon. The Yakuza games are just like that. And there's like wacky storylines, tense moments. They're very good. I recommend them as a series. And that would be the perfect type of game for Bugler.
Or like that recent Spider-Man game.
Yeah. Or like
around the city.
Fist of the North Star recently had a game by the Yakuza team that plays pretty much exactly the same. Bakamitai.
Sorry, I'm still have my cough, but it's definitely clearing up.
Yeah. But that would definitely be how I'd adapt it.
We may work on a 2D beat 'em up.
Yeah. I've seen some of the behind the scenes stuff for that. He's already got, because this might be how he, at least at first, shows off the other backstory that we were talking about when he was going for that totem. Who knows? Originally, it was going to be a board game. It might still be at some point in time. Plans are all up in the air. Nobody really knows what directions things are going to go. It's all speculative at this point.
Yeah.
It's a matter of motivation and also time. Time's a big issue.
Mm-hmm.
There's only so much time in the day, and at the moment, one, possibly 2 or 3 people can even work on it, because it's hard to recruit people into any endeavor that you want to do.
Yeah, especially if you're not able to pay them.
Yeah.
But we'll see. Hopefully, when I get a full-time job very soon, I'll be able to. Ironically, if I can get a full-time job, I'll actually have more time to work on stuff.
Yeah. Well, that's the funny part too, right? Is that what is considered a full-time job these days, which really isn't that many hours, right? Actually affords you free time because you don't have to worry about constantly hunting down jobs.
Yeah, exactly. So when you have that, there's a lot less stress, and you don't feel like you know. It's like, well, I could work on this free thing that may never pay me anything, or I could spend the time trying to find a job. You know? Yeah. So, or I could spend the time working on billable time for a small project. But yeah, once you've got sort of that 9 to 5, at least 40-hour week job, it frees you up to do stuff on your free time.
Yeah.
Interestingly.
Yeah.
So anyway, hopefully soon. But in the meantime, anything else that jumps out at you besides the Nintendo Direct from this morning?
Not at the moment. I think we should probably just roll right into the Nintendo Direct. And then if I consider anything else. Yeah. Well, I think we should probably start from the top of the interesting things and work down. The first thing that was shown was Bravely Default 2.
Yeah. Now, is that I assume that's coming out on Switch, right?
Yes. That's definitely... Well, I mean, it's coming out next year, and they already discontinued the 3DS model, so...
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I guess that's kind of a dumb question, but
yeah.
It's just kind of... it surprised me, because I was like, okay, the original was on 3DS, and I was watching it, and it looked very 3DS-ish, but, the graphics...
Were definitely better.
Don't look super high def or anything, but definitely better than the 3DS.
They weren't pixelated, right? So they were still the same type of 3D models, but they were more refined. They smooth edges and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's cool.
Well, this game was originally announced to be on the 3DS, but it was taking so long to make it that if they're not doing the 3DS anymore, they're probably just like, hey, guys, just make it for the Switch.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what struck me was that the graphics, obviously they're a bit more sophisticated, but they looked a lot like the Final Fantasy III remake. I mean, that's what it reminded me at first. Is like, oh, this looks like the Final Fantasy III 3D remake that they did like years ago.
Yeah.
For mobile and 3DS.
Well, it was originally DS.
Or
DS. Yeah, it was the original DS. And that one, it even came out for the DS before it came out on the other versions. I think it was technically a port, but all the models, the DS version was compressed. So when they were making it, they had an uncompressed version of the game. And that's why they were able to port it. And the same with Final Fantasy IV had a 3D remake too. And that was immediately what I thought when I saw the first Bravely Default. It was the same modeling structure and stuff. And in many ways, it was a game very reminiscent of Final Fantasy III and V likewise, because it's another game that's about the Four Crystals and about jobs. Right? Those are like the two big things about it. One was like that, except you couldn't switch your jobs after the start of the game. 3 was the first one to let you switch the jobs. 5 was more sophisticated, even allowing you to carry abilities between jobs. Like each job had its one main ability. And Bravely Default kind of actually felt like the actual Final Fantasy VII, if you think about it, right? Because this was the odd number Final Fantasy every single time, and then 7 threw that for a loop, being more like 6.
Yeah.
And I enjoyed it.
This is the good Final Fantasy VII.
I wouldn't say that. Because I like 7. I think it's overrated compared to many other Final Fantasy games, but it's still a good game. Yeah. But I probably have just as many qualms about Bravely Default as I do about 7. But there's the one about Bravely Default's so big, though. It's the repetition.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then, honestly, it's actually kind of like 7 too, since it, even despite being the start of its series, already had a spin-off game, like its own sequel, Bravely Second, which is kind of like 7 getting a Crisis Core or an Advent Children or something like that,
Right. Yeah, so I've not actually played either of those, but I have Bravely Default on Citra, at least. So I plan on playing that. See, now that I have decent internet, I can get back into streaming. So I plan on playing that on a live stream.
Definitely play that on a stream, because I'll be honest, I still haven't played through the whole game. I know the ending, which has probably also stopped me from wanting to finish it. But due to the repetition and how cyclical the game is, if you're not live streaming it to an audience, it can be really hard to motivate yourself to finish the game. So I definitely recommend playing that on stream. It's more of a motivating factor.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, as soon as I get my computer gets here tomorrow, so I can set that up and I can actually play on Citra. So.
Yeah.
But I also have other games that I want to play first before I get back to that. So.
Yeah. And I think it's going to confuse a lot of people. Because the sequel to Bravely Default is not Bravely Default 2. Bravely Second is the sequel to Bravely Default. And it's because it's taking the Final Fantasy naming convention, right? So, Bravely Default 2 is its own story, kind of like how Final Fantasy 2 is its own fairy tale. It's like the same thing going on.
Sure enough, I do have my 3DO, or 3DO, whatever it's called.
Yeah.
8-bit DO, 8-bit do, whatever.
I think it's supposed to be 8-bit DO because it's supposed to be like Nintendo.
Oh, okay.
That's my guess. I honestly don't know, but that's what the naming convention seems to be. But yeah, so Bravely Default 2, people need to understand it's its own game going in, which means I don't know if it's in the same world, because I'm not sure if I saw a glimpse of Agnes, who was the vessel of the like goddess from the first game, in the trailer. So it might be tangentially connected, but because it's its own thing, you don't need to have played the first game to play it. You could just jump straight into it.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So are they? I mean, you said you weren't sure, but does it seem like they're kind of following the Final Fantasy model of every game is a self-contained?
I think so. Like I said, I'm not sure. It might be generations later. It might be closer to maybe, say, the Dragon Quest model.
Like Dragon Quest, yeah.
Yeah. But, because I thought one of the characters looked very similar to Agnes, who was one of the main characters from the first game.
We're both looking.
Yeah.
Ananami.
And, but I don't know, it could have been another character that just looked vaguely similar. This could be a completely self-isolated world. But not every Final Fantasy is completely isolated. Right?
Well, except for the few, like, direct sequels.
Well, no, even outside of the direct sequels, not every single one's directly isolated. Right? Final Fantasy 7 and 10 take place in the same world, generations apart.
Really?
Yeah. There's a direct reference to the Ancients in Final Fantasy 7.
Okay.
And even certain landmarks in the world are the same when you go under the sea.
So is 10 a prequel?
No. 10 is a sequel generations later. It's in a flooded version of the world.
Oh.
Yeah. We're talking like thousands of years different, probably. In fact, what's it? Riku's people, I think, descend from the Ancients. Yeah. It's one of those like really hidden lore things that you have to be paying attention, or you can just go and read wikis of people who dug out everything and have screenshots of it for you.
I mean, is that the only example?
Well, and also Final Fantasy 12 takes place on Ivalice, which is the same world all the tactics games take place in.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I don't even. I mean, that's Fantasy 12 is the online one, right?
No. 11 is
The MMO.
online. 12 is a PS2 game. Strictly. Well, it's not strictly anymore. They remade it. Zodiac Age.
Okay.
No. 12 was a single player game. So Tactics had already existed, obviously, since PlayStation 1. There was Tactics Advance, Tactics Advance 2, and a couple other ones. And what was it, 2000... Oh, what was it, 8 maybe? Maybe it could be earlier than that. But Final Fantasy 12 had come out for the late PlayStation 2. And it took place in Ivalice, which is why the Moogles look the way they do in Final Fantasy 12, because they're the Ivalice Moogles, which are the way they were in the Tactics games.
Okay.
In fact, not even just does it take place in Ivalice, which it shows in the game map and stuff. One of the characters that was playable in one of the Tactics games shows up in Final Fantasy 12, Mont Blanc, and he runs the guild hall for the Hunters clan. So yeah, there's a couple direct connections, and technically all the games, despite being isolated to some degree, are interconnected, which most people don't know unless they've played 5, and outside of Japan, not a lot of people have played 5. Even when it was re-released, it's still not that popular of a game. The kind of like world tree type thing that you go on the Void when you fight Exdeath, and even Gilgamesh falls into the Void, is basically the equivalent of the lane between worlds. The Void connects all of the different worlds together. And when Gilgamesh falls through into the Void, it's kind of implied that every time you see Gilgamesh in a different Final Fantasy after that, it's the same Gilgamesh from that game. Because he's just kind of been falling through the different worlds. Final Fantasy does multiverse. Which shouldn't be a surprise. It's kind of loosely, not directly, but thematically related to Kingdom Hearts, which also does multiverse directly in it.
Mhm.
So it's kind of something that Square, specifically the team that works on the Final Fantasy games, likes to play with.
Mhm. Interesting.
Yeah. Which I think Dissidia becomes Deuterocanon because of that. Because it's kind of like a collapsing of the multiverse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Story of Seasons.
yeah. Let's get into not Harvest Moon.
That's right.
Yeah.
I've played a little bit of Story of Seasons Trio of Towns. That's about it.
Yeah.
And when I say a little, I mean like the first 5 or 10 minutes.
Which is still more than I've
never...
played of the game.
Okay. But it's very similar to like Animal Crossing or Harvest Moon. So it's a farming kind of simulator, and you can, or like Stardew Valley, you can form relationships and that sort of thing.
Yeah, I would definitely say it's way more closer to Harvest Moon and Stardew in the like than it is to Animal Crossing. Just on the game type.
Yeah, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Because I know a lot of people.
Yeah, you're right.
A lot of people like to lump Animal Crossing and Harvest Moon into the same category, just kind of like
but there's
intuitively. But
there's no farming in Animal Crossing. Come to think of it.
Yeah.
There's a little bit of manipulating the land, but yeah, you're right. It's closer to like Stardew Valley,
and they're also kind of like opposites in the series, right? They're both like picking up country life out of nowhere.
Yeah.
But one is like a low tension game where everything moves in real time, and the other one's actually at first, but once you get used to it, becomes kind of low. A high tension game that moves in an accelerated time that actually has like goals and a time.
You have a clock.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I guess Harvest Moon is a little in between. Like it's pretty low stress. I don't think there's a timer or a time limit on things. I know it's very colorful. I know it's those sorts of games are very good if you're a high anxiety kind of person. It's helpful to play those games and relax a bit.
Well, I know
that looks cool.
Story of Seasons came out just about the same time that Stardew did, and they're both kind of spiritual successors to Harvest Moon in different ways. Very similar, but in their own ways. Stardew being more like an improvement of the original Harvest Moon, doing everything that had been abandoned from the series, and Story of Seasons kind of the same, but it's more like an improvement to the PS1 version of Harvest Moon, specifically, than any other one.
Yeah. John played Yeovil? Is that like Farmville?
I don't know, maybe. Actually, no, I wouldn't say PS1. Actually, it's more like the GameCube version of Harvest Moon.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely a genre that not for everyone.
Mm-hmm.
It's quite, there's goals, and it can be rewarding to sort of build up your farm and form relationships with people in the town. And
I will say it's not for everyone because not anything can be for everyone, but I do think there is a wide net cast for the type of people interested in Harvest Moon type games. It's just a lot of people don't know they are. Especially, like, I know a lot of, like, girls who don't like other types of games who really enjoy, say, Stardew and stuff like that. And some of them had played Harvest Moon, but a lot of them just, they never picked up a game until Stardew. So I think a lot of people should at least give those type of games a try, especially if you find them on sale.
Yeah, if you've never tried that, or there's another one, I think it's still in early access, Pumpkinville, or
I don't
can't remember what it's called. It's on Steam. I have it on my wish list actually. But games like that, like Story of Seasons and Harvest Moon sort of things. If you've never tried a game like that, it can be good. It can be nice and addicting, and it's kind of one of those things where you can, if you have a stressful day, you can go and play with it, and kind of calm down. It
Yeah.
can be a bit addicting too.
Just don't play Rune Factory, Harvest Moon.
Really?
I mean, it's more of an RPG. If you like RPGs, you should play that. But I feel like for people who don't like RPGs, the net for people who will enjoy Harvest Moon is probably wider than the net for people who will enjoy JRPGs.
Yeah.
And it might turn you off the whole series if the first thing you play is Rune Factory Harvest Moon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, yes, they announced. I forget what it's called. Olive something or other.
Yeah, something like Return to Olive City or Olive Town. What was it? I can look it up real quick. Yeah, I think it was something like Return to Olive Town. The first one I think was Friends of Mineral Town. Pioneers of Olive Town. That's the name of this one. Yeah.
Story of Seasons.
Yeah, Story of Seasons, Pioneer of Olive Town.
Coming out on Switch.
Yep.
Very soon.
Because I know Friends of Mineral Town was on 3DS. I think, was Story of Seasons the one that your Trio of Towns, was that also on 3DS? Yeah, I think so.
That was on 3DS.
Yeah.
I've got that on 3DS. And this one's coming out, was it February or March?
Oh. I think it was it? I want to say March.
Can't remember.
Which usually
March 23rd.
Games like these are usually good sellers in spring, because as everybody gets into spring, gardening becomes the hobby that everybody wants. So farm simulator games become really popular because it was like, I don't want to go outside and garden. Oh, I could just do it inside.
Yeah. So I remember Animal Crossing came out last spring in March, I think.
They usually do it in spring. I was actually confused one year, and I was upset because my pre-order, I pre-ordered it for the launch date, and it just kept getting pushed back, and they were gonna like put it out in November or something like that.
Animal Crossing?
Yeah, they were gonna do it in late fall, and then it got pushed back.
Yeah, that was
and it
really
came out
upset.
in March anyway. And it's like, why didn't you just say March from the beginning? You always put these out in spring.
Yeah, I don't know. It got delayed. I guess they weren't quite ready yet.
Mm-hmm.
Oh well.
Yeah.
So then I have to admit, I fast forwarded through the rest of the the rest of the Nintendo Direct until I got to Age of Calamity. So you might have to talk about, was the next one No More Heroes, or was?
No, I think No
was
More
it
Heroes
something else?
was when was No More Heroes?
Was that the fourth one?
It might have been. I watched the whole thing. Some of them just weren't very interesting.
Yeah.
This was mostly a partners direct. So while there was a Zelda game in there, it's because it's a Zelda game being produced with Koei Tecmo.
By Koei Tecmo, yeah.
Yeah. So it's both an in-house and out-house game.
Yeah.
Outhouse being a very apt description of Koei Tecmo as a company. I like their games. Yeah. It's like, I like their games, but
yeah,
gotta be honest.
So I can't remember what was the other game that was in there.
There's a couple other ones. There was like this a post-apocalypse survival game that looked like it probably belonged on a phone.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looked like one of those mobile games, like I forget what they're called, but the ones they always see ads for.
Yeah. It's like a kingdom building game almost, right? It looked like there was a little bit of RTS in there, but in the way of like sending units out to go get stuff and maybe also applying defense to your structure. You're kind of like building a kingdom. It's just a post-apocalyptic kingdom.
Yeah.
Didn't seem like the type of thing I'm interested in, but there's also this one called Control. I remember the name of it. And it looked like it was kind of similar to, the SCP Foundation, like, fictional world on the internet, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. It kind of looked like it belonged in that type of world, and you were like the like the person in charge of this control unit, like the I don't know, CEO of it or something like that. Like, but you were also the captain, and she had like superpowers. It looked interesting, but also not at the same time. It's like, I'm never gonna play this game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. There was one game that actually caught my attention, but it's probably gonna be horrible. And it was called Phoenix something. What was the full name?
Immortals Phoenix Rising.
Yeah, that was it. Which, even the name having Rising in there made me laugh, because it was made by Ubisoft. And it looked like it was Ubisoft's Breath of the Wild knockoff, because everybody's making a Breath of the Wild knockoff now. But if it was starring Pit from Kid Icarus, because it's like all Greek mythology based. They have wings and stuff. A lot of the weapons look like Pit's weapons in like Kid Icarus Uprising, which is why the.
That's what I thought at first when they started showing. I was like, "Oh my gosh, is this a Kid Icarus sequel?" I was like, "No."
Yeah.
Shoot.
And if Nintendo was making it and it was Kid Icarus, it's like, you know what? I would let Nintendo rip off their own game.
Yeah.
I kind of want another Kid Icarus game. I really enjoyed Uprising, but it looked like it's a fun game mechanically, but it's Ubisoft, so I'm gonna expect it to be broken as fuck.
Mm-hmm.
And also for them to not treat the mythology with any respect, like, they did when they tried making an Assassin's Creed game that had Greek mythology or any mythology whatsoever.
Yeah. So, yeah. I was excited at first, but apparently it's not a Kid Icarus game. So
yeah. I was excited until I saw the word Ubisoft.
Yeah, I saw that too. I was like, Ubisoft. Ugh, yuck.
Yeah, that's pretty much every time I see a Ubisoft game with a property I don't recognize, like a new IP, it's, hey, this looks cool. Aw, Ubisoft.
Oh. Yeah, so Surviving the Aftermath comes out in spring.
That was the other one? Yeah.
That was sort of the, whatever, kingdom building game in the post-apocalyptic world.
Yeah, it's got a fitting name, but also a really boring one. Like, I'm never going to remember Surviving the Aftermath. That sounds like a poorly written teen zombie survival book that you would find in the YA section.
Yeah.
But, me, because we could get to Age of Calamity in a minute. I know we're building up for that, but I'm really excited for the No More Heroes news, which was, I think, like the 5th or 6th announced thing in there.
Yeah, now is that No More Heroes 3, is that a game that's already come out?
No, it's coming out. We haven't had No More Heroes in a long time, and I'm privy to the history of No More Heroes as a franchise. No More Heroes is a Grasshopper Studio, specifically a Suda51 game. Which anybody who knows Suda51, he is an artistic oddball who, mechanically, his games aren't necessarily like the biggest wow, but story-wise, character, visuals, and basically everything that creates the aesthetic of a game, he knocks out of the park, right? And he's not talking about being like the best graphic, but he's going to like wow you with style.
Right.
And I love pretty much all the Suda games. They're great. They kind of have to work on some people, but it's sort of a beat-em-up game in many ways. Like a hack and slash. He's got like this weird lightsaber-looking thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a laser katana, and you play as Travis Touchdown, who is an assassin who's trying to work up the boards of the ranking. Like there's like a ranking to these assassins, and you have to go and fight these other assassins and stuff like that. Really fun game. That's the first one. The story gets progressively crazier and crazier. Things go on. He's a weeb, so Travis Touchdown is a. I wouldn't call him like a Mary Sue or anything like that. Even though some of what I'm going to describe kind of sounds like it at first. he's not a self-insert, but he's a very relatable character to the people playing the games. He's a weeb. He's like really into moe. He's got like all these waifu pictures around his apartment and stuff like that. And he's kind of just like a geek. But he's a really badass geek whose job is to kill people. And he like is a wrestling fan, so everything he does, if it's not his beam katana, is like grabbing people and suplexing them and stuff like that. Very hands-on guy. And he's had 3 games prior to No More Heroes 3. It was No More Heroes, No More Heroes 2, and No More Heroes Travis Strikes Again, which is kind of more like a collective minigame type game where it's he gets a hold of a death drive from, there's a Travis touchdown. He gets a hold of a death drive, which is a video game series line in the Sudaverse that you see in Let It Die. And he starts playing a bunch of games that are based around No More Heroes. It was kind of like a filler game to be like, hey, we didn't forget about Travis, we're going to be back. And then shortly afterwards, they drop an announcement for No More Heroes 3.
Yeah.
And No More Heroes, actually, the original one got sped up in development because it was almost done anyway. And Smash Brothers wasn't, because this came out when Brawl was coming out for the Wii.
Yeah.
And not a lot of people played it, but they didn't want to go through such a dry period that waiting for Smash Brothers to come out. So to be able to push Smash Brothers back a month, they convinced Suda to push No More Heroes up a month. Which is why he should have been in Smash, damn it, instead of just a Mii fighter. But, so, like I was saying, not a lot of people have played these games. I'm sure you've never played it. Like, any of them.
So the first 2 came out on the Wii.
Yes.
Right. So they completely skipped the Wii U, I guess.
Altogether. Suda was working on different games. I think during that time, Lollipop Chainsaw had come out. He really didn't work on it, though I think he just made the character of Uncle Death. But Let It Die came out. There's been a few different Suda games. But with the Switch, he's coming back. No More Heroes 3 is announced. But because not a lot of people played it, despite the Wii being one of the most popular systems of all time, they are porting No More Heroes 1 and 2 to the Switch. So now all 4 No More Heroes games will be available to Switch users. Oh yeah,
all 4?
Yeah. So that's No More Heroes, No More Heroes 2, Travis Strikes Again, and No More Heroes 3. Will all be available to Switch users.
Okay, so this one doesn't say anything about Travis Strikes Again.
It's a Switch game already. It was originally released for the Switch.
Oh, it's already there. Okay.
Yeah. It doesn't need to be ported or anything. This is the system it was launched on.
Yeah, so it says, so I guess it says available now already are No More Heroes 1 and 2.
Yeah, I think it launched today with the Direct to prepare people for 3. So people, because they even said you don't need to know the backstory to enjoy this game because it's kind of just like a wacky hack and slash beat 'em up style thing, but you get even more enjoyment out of it if you know what happened beforehand. So they want you to be prepared.
Yep. Cool.
Very fun series. Even compared to the stuff that we had already said, this one I cannot recommend enough. Honestly, I'm going to even recommend this more than the game we're probably about to talk about next, despite the fact that it has information related to Breath of the Wild, just because this is a very underrated series. Like, criminally underrated. I
thought we were going to talk about Hitman 3.
Hitman 3. Hitman hasn't been good in ages, to be honest. But we could talk about it. It might be good. I did like the original Hitman.
I don't. I don't really know anything about it.
Yeah. It's one of those
But Hitman
franchises
3
that Square kind of killed.
cloud version. It's like an online game.
I'm assuming, because they had a, what was it? There was like a global operative Hitman game that came out last generation, or yeah, it would be last generation at this point. And they're already discontinuing it. It's going to be one of the ones that isn't being ported forward to the new generation. And it was awful. They had one of those, like they did with the Deus Ex game too, one of those build your own pre-order things with exclusive stuff that you're not going to be able to get anywhere else. So they're basically extorting people into building the biggest possible pre-order so they could get everything. It's kind of lame, honestly. And the game ran like shit. And there wasn't enough missions. They didn't update enough throughout its lifetime. I would not recommend that game at all. So it doesn't give me a lot of hope that they're going to be taking the Hitman series in any positive direction after that. Unless they learn from that failure.
Mm-hmm. So what do you think about part-time UFO?
That one's probably going to be fun. It looks like you're playing as one of those UFO catchers from the Sega Crane games.
Yeah, well, apparently it's available now, so you can look it up now if you wanted to.
Yeah.
See, I hope it's not like a full-priced $50 game.
Oh, well, you know what? I think Google should be able to tell us.
Yeah.
Part-time UFO. I would hope not either. But,
Yeah.
Oh, apparently you could play it on the App Store for like $4.
Oh, jeez. It kind of looked like one of those kind of cheap, like, I don't know, it kind of looks like Untitled Goose Game.
Yeah. Oh, because apparently it is also a phone game, if you get on the App Store, so. It looks fun. It looks like there's more playability than you would be able to have it on a phone, because you could take the Joy-Cons apart and hand it to a friend, and they can pick up a UFO too and help you. But it also kind of just looks like a single micro game from WarioWare that was turned into an extended full game.
Yeah. There it is on the phone. Oh, where's my camera?
And basically the premise of the game for people listening afterwards is you are a UFO that has like one of those UFO catcher crane hands from those like Sega Crane games. And you are basically just moving things. You're a mover. That's your job. You're doing part-time jobs, and you pick things up and put them where they're supposed to go. Like the one he's showing there is you're stacking cheerleaders. You might stack a totem. You might build a castle. You might just move crates of eggs from one place to another. There's a bunch of different games that you have to do.
Yeah, looks kind of dumb.
Yeah. Thing is, I don't know if I'd get it for the Switch. If somebody was interested, I would say just get it for the phone. It's something you could play when you've got a 15-minute break at work or something like that. If you bring your Switch to work, you could, but I just don't know if it's worth buying for a console.
I just noticed Among Us is free.
On mobile, yeah.
On iOS. Interesting.
That's how most people play it. There are people trying to get me to play it, and I was like, I don't want to buy that game. It's free on mobile. I don't want to play it on my phone. I was like, you could barely even try to convince me to play it on my computer. Why would I want to play it on my phone? The problem is, a lot of people playing things on phone is their preferred way now. I guess it's being a gamer for so long that it's kind of just like weird to think that that's somebody's preferred way to play games. I like buttons.
Yeah, I've tried. Yeah, I've even tried. I've tried playing like some of the old Dragon Quest and Final Fantasy games on the phone, and it's hard. I can't get used to having on-screen controls. I want actual physical
feedback.
Controls that move. I mean, even on an RPG where it's not important to be quick, it's just
I like the tactile feedback of pressing a button and knowing the button was pressed.
Yeah, exactly. So anyway, Age of Calamity.
Age of Calamity. Yeah. Like I was saying before we started, it was a game I'm initially excited about, but I wasn't like super hype. I want to know the story. I've been kind of interested in knowing what the story to before the Calamity or as it was happening throughout all of Breath of the Wild, and it's kind of just been sitting in the back of my head since then.
Yeah.
And I also do like the Warriors games. I've been playing them for a long time. I like the Dynasty Warriors. The Gundam Warriors are good too. Most of their spin-offs are good. I enjoyed Hyrule Warriors. But even combining these things, at first really wasn't enough to make me like super excited, because it's like, what's the difference? And then in the trailer we saw today, which you brought up while we were talking, you get to control the Divine Beasts. And then that changed everything. Like, now I'm up to here.
It does look pretty cool. I don't know if... I don't know. They seem like maybe a temporary power-up or something, maybe, because they look so indestructible, like they're just blown away.
Well, I think for story
Huge
purposes,
swaths.
there's just certain fixed missions that you'll play as them. Right?
Maybe,
so, like,
yeah.
each one has their... It's almost like a Megazord, right? Or when they have like Power Ranger games, or what's a good example? You ever play the 64 versions of the Legend of the Mystical Ninja games?
No.
Okay, well, they're great games. I love Mystical Ninja, and what would happen is it was a 3D platformer normally. Well, the sequel was back to 2D, but it's a platformer where you did normal like bonking type platformer mechanics. You had like a pipe and you could hit people with it. You could jump on them and everything. Slight RPG mechanics, but not really. Like, things went up through progressing levels of the game, not like character levels. But when you went to fight the bosses, they would call in a giant robot named Impact that you would hop into, and there would be like this on-rails kind of like little mini-level to get to the boss. And you'd be skating as this giant afroed robot named Impact. And that's what it was kind of reminding me of. I wouldn't be surprised if, especially, what was it, Naburus, right, the camel? It looked like you were laying siege on the Yiga clan's hideout or something like that. So each of these kind of look like it was a siege level, and it'll just be a stage where you play as those things. That's what it looked like to me. It could be wrong. I mean,
Yeah, it's hard to tell. I was guessing it may not be like a whole stage. It may just be like a temporary... Did I zone out there for a second? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can.
So yeah, I thought maybe it was like a temporary power-up, like kind of like in some of the Mario Brothers games where you get the Mega Mushroom and suddenly you can destroy everything in your path for 30 seconds and then it goes away.
That would be cool.
I thought maybe...
I think that... I don't know if that would lend to the normal gameplay very well. Because even the controls seem kind of different than normal gameplay, which they'd have to be for something that big and having targeted lasers and stuff like that. And I also don't know... I would think that would be the better way to do it if the world ends up being as open as it was in Breath of the Wild. If they just gave them the Breath of the Wild map and be like, here, we're revert it 500 years and you explore around. But I really don't think that's going to be the case because it's a Warriors game. So it looks like you're just going to be in sections of the map doing normal Warrior stuff for the most part.
Mm-hmm. Maybe you can jump in and out of them.
At
certain points. Or maybe you can jump in and they have a certain amount of power where you can use them for a certain period of time and leave. I don't know.
Like, I wouldn't be surprised if it was like in Kid Icarus Uprising, where the start of the level is you flying to the place and there's almost like this Star Fox Kingdom Hearts gummy ship kind of opening part where you're flying as Pit. And then after you finish that part, you would get out of the beast and be doing some ground fight.
Yeah. Maybe.
Yeah.
It's hard to tell, but it looked cool how you could. I saw like there was one part where they were zapping like Hinox, stuff like that, and a bunch
Yeah.
of smaller enemies. And they definitely showed a lot more of like the Yiga leader. What's his name again?
Koga?
Koga, yeah. And whatever that new Windblade Warrior dude looks like. I don't know who that is. You're definitely going to be able to play as those characters, as well as the mysterious one with the eyeliner. Mysterious, dark Yiga.
Yeah.
Or whatever he is. I don't know. Dark ninja of some sort with eyeliner.
Yeah.
They showed a bit more of Robbie and Pura, or whatever, the precursor to Pura. So yeah. And the playable demo is out now.
It is, and actually, that's something that excites me more. Normally, I hate demos, and I avoid them like the plague. Because one thing I hate is something later in the game being spoiled for me. Which is why, some demos, they just like to, they'll cut you at the beginning, then they'll cut you later just to kind of tease you, look what's gonna happen, or how strong the character is gonna be. I hate demos like that, and I also hate demos that waste your time. This one is neither. It is the full first chapter of the game, and your save file carries over after you buy the full game. So it's definitely worth playing.
Yeah, they did the same with Dragon Quest Builders 2. You could play the first chapter and then buy the full game and copy over your save data. That's awesome.
Actually, Bravely Default had a really good demo that was killed by the fact that it was what I called Nintendo demos. I actually wrote a whole article on them on screwattack.com back in the day, and I was highlighted in the community highlight. Because Nintendo used to have this weird obsession with making their demos ridiculously useless by giving them startup counts. So Bravely Default had a game.
Yeah.
The demo could take you up to, depending on how much you speeded it up by progress, anywhere between 24 to 72 hours to finish the whole demo. By leaving it on or off, it would still do it if you left it off, for these builders in your town to fix the town up for you in the background, right? So it actually only took you maybe a few hours of gameplay to finish the demo if you leveled all the way up to 20 and stuff. And it included one of the towns and areas from the game, but the story was nothing like it ended up being in the game. It was just a fixed little alternate verse story for you to play through to get used to the mechanics. I liked that. It didn't spoil anything for me. But it did show you the town building mechanics. And the problem with it was if it takes you up to 72 hours to beat it, with leaving the background, and you can only start the game 30 times, I think was the limit for that one. It wasn't. After that, they started bumping up to 99 times just because that was the counter limit for them, which I still think was stupid.
Yeah.
But they give you 30 times that you could start the game, and it's what? Because to even progress, you had to finish some of the towns before the next, or some of the aspects in the town before the next missions were available. And basically, I just kept leaving my DS asleep. I only started it the one time.
Yeah.
Because I didn't want to risk how many times I could have started it. And I would just plug it in every so often if I saw the battery getting low, and I left my 3DS asleep the entire time I was playing through that demo. And I think it took me 27 hours to beat it, waiting for things to go through and all that. And the thing is, because it wasn't any story, and they obviously can't start you at level 20, there was stuff that carries over. You got some items that you got from the town or unlocked through the missions, and you got to keep the number of villagers that you recruited for the town for when you started doing that stuff, so you could progress through it faster. So it was worth doing, But it's like, why would you make a demo that's already got its own internal clock and timeline, only able to start up so many times?
Mm.
I'm glad Nintendo doesn't pull that shit anymore, but god dang, Nintendo, like, what the fuck is wrong with you?
Yeah, they finally figured out. I mean, I guess depends on the developer of the game. I mean, it could be a partner making that decision.
Well,
But,
I know for a fact it wasn't Square, because this was just something Nintendo was doing flat for almost all of its demos, up until, like, I think it was Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire was, like, the first one that didn't have a time limit on it, or a play limit on it.
yeah.
And that one, they really had to make sure, because there was, like, an internal clock for day, and each day unlocked new events, so you had to play it over the course of a week.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this one, I guess you can start up as many times as you want. You could just only play the first chapter.
You could even restart the first chapter as many times as you want if you, whatever your last save file will be, or however it works. You probably have multiple save files.
Yeah.
Just pick one to carry over.
Yep, however you want to do it. So that's cool.
Oh, yeah.
I will have to get a Switch so that I can play it.
Oh, yeah. The problem is I probably won't end up playing it until, I don't know, maybe Sunday. Because I've got... we're still running this RPG. Quick plug for anybody watching or listening at any point in time. This Saturday on Rick Piper's YouTube channel, Cross Comics, we will be playing a tabletop RPG based on Final Fantasy that I am running as the game master. Marsupial is going to be one of the players. Dillard was in the chat before. He will be a player too. A couple other people that we know. It'll be fun. It'll be at 3 Eastern. So then, you can do the math of whatever time zone you're in after that. Want everybody to come along. It'll be a hoot. But the initial session takes up so much more prep work than I will have to do for other sessions. Oh yeah, you're playing a Moogle. It'll take so much more prep work than I'll need to do for, like, many sessions down the road until you hit, like, another metropolitan area. Which I only have, like, 4, maybe 5 of those planned in the game. And that's because the 5th one, I'm debating whether it actually counts as a metropolitan area or not. But it'll take as much work regardless. It's a big area. But because it's a big city that has things that are important, I actually have to prepare all the maps of it for the first session and fill it with some NPCs. I will finish in time, but it means that I'm spending all of my time between now and then working on assets for that game. And so I'm not going to be able to play this demo until Sunday, after the first session is over.
Yeah. Well, I'm hopeful that I can get a Switch. Maybe this weekend, maybe Monday. So
soon, yeah.
If it's still available. Yeah, I've got some work to do tomorrow, so assuming I get paid, maybe able to order on Friday. That would be cool.
Yeah, you've been needing a new one for a while now.
Yep. Got mine stolen back in March. So.
Some people,
I'm
man.
ready.
Some people.
Yeah.
And you'd think,
I'm ready for a new Switch.
in the safety of your own apartment, you wouldn't have to worry about people stealing stuff from you.
Oh, well.
Yeah, it's the world we live in.
Yeah. Anyway. Yeah, I should be able to get a new one now, finally.
Yeah. But all in all, I think it was a good direct. Like, there were several things that, even if I'm not extremely excited about it, they look good, and I can be excited about. And that typically seems to be the case from Nintendo these days. I don't feel this way about most of the other companies doing things unless they happen to do something with Nintendo. Like Square. When I get announcements from Square in general, not usually excited about them, especially like this new Final Fantasy. Not really doing much for me from what little I saw, because it looks like it's going to be another not Final Fantasy game with the same title. Like it's going to have some aspects of Final Fantasy, but then it's going to be like I don't know. It almost look like a Witcher game, you know? Oh hey, Duggar's here. So there's like aspects that it just doesn't look good. But then when I see Square doing something with Nintendo, like Bravely Default or back when they did Octopath, I'm super excited. It's like, you know, a lot of these companies when they do stuff by themselves, it's lame. But I don't know.
Yeah. There's a Tropico 6, I guess, is also coming out.
Yeah.
For Switch. It's kind of cool. Looks like a tropical themed SimCity.
That does sound fun.
I never played it, but I've definitely heard of it.
Yeah, I actually haven't even heard of it until now. Duggar,
Yeah, it's been around for a while.
you are here. Do you want to say anything?
I was gonna just say something really profound and to the point. I was trying to get the words together. Hold on.
I would say take your time.
Okay.
Because it is a long show, but at the same time, we are on a time limit.
Progression locked behind a stamina system where there's no other way to farm up that progression is stupid as fuck.
I take it you're talking about the resin system in Genshin.
Especially when that stamina system, or especially when the game is open enough to where you actually want to play it. But killing an enemy gives you 17 fucking experience. But you need 90,000 to get a level.
What game is this?
Genshin Impact.
Genshin.
Oh.
Like, I want to play the game. I want to spend money on the game. I want to support the game. But if I'm only playing it for 30 minutes because they say, you know what? We want you to wait to play the game, it's fucking stupid.
Yeah, the thing is, I really haven't ran into too many problems with the resin system yet, though. It is, you know, becoming tighter and tighter the further I progress. At the moment, I have plenty of those moons that you use to refill your system.
Yeah.
I just haven't used. The real problem I have is, aside from even using resin to grind, and this is why you start consuming more, there's nothing else to do in the game.
Well, we're getting more stuff in a little over a week.
Yeah.
So I'm not super worried about there not being stuff, because somehow I'm still finding ways to entertain myself. But you have to use resin to get experience books from the fucking ley lines.
And you don't even get a lot.
You get 3 purple books and 5, maybe 6 of the blues, which when you get to the point where I'm at, it's fucking worthless. But
yeah, because you need like 100 books to do anything.
Yeah, and then there's the money that's, you know, locked behind it too. You can't sell stuff, and depending on what class the classification.
Well, okay, you actually can sell things.
You can't sell stuff that you don't want.
Yeah. Well, because the problem is you need the artifacts.
Sell the artifact stuff
to upgrade artifacts is the problem, right?
Yeah. There's too much stuff to level up for the amount of money that you can get, and you can't, like, if I don't want the shitty fucking food. I don't care for the power increasing or defense increasing stuff, but Like, you can't sell any of that.
Yeah.
You can't sell enhancement materials that you have a fuck ton of. It's frustrating.
Well, you should probably make a complaint in the next survey, or even directly to them, because they do seem to be listening to people, no matter how petty or retarded their changes are.
I did make complaints in the survey, and one of the complaints I made was about the resin system, and I guess their decision based off of the complaints for people in the resin system was, hey, you know what? We're going to give you 40 more resins. So instead of it taking 16 hours to fill up your resin per day, it's going to take 24. When there's simple solutions like, making things take less fucking resin.
I gave them a suggestion, which I think you and I talked about, which was they could leave the resin cost where it is, but then for no resin give you even drastically reduced rewards.
Yeah, or what the rewards are at now, like for the ley lines and whatnot. Give that as a, no resin.
Yeah.
You get no resin or give no resin, but if you spend resin, give me 10 of them. Give me 10 of the books.
Did you grind the event when it was open?
Which event?
The Alchemist one that we did a couple times.
Yeah, I finished it out, but it still wasn't.
Well, I grinded even after I finished it, just because for time, it was the most efficient thing you could do, because it gave you like 33 purple books every time you did it.
Yeah. I hadn't thought about it. I didn't think it would be as bad as it is.
Well, I knew experience was going to be bad, period. It always gets like that in these games.
So, I don't know, like, enemies dropping 17, or giving you 17 experience.
Yeah, the problem is it doesn't scale, right? Like, I swear they've been dropping the same experience since world level 0.
So, like, that's where part of the problem is the small amount of experience that you get is not comparable to the amount that you need. Like, I was looking at it earlier, and it went from to get a character from 52 to 53 off of 17 experience per enemy, it would have taken like over 4,600 kills.
Yeah, that's like a good hour of grinding.
And that'd be a good hour of grind. Yeah, it'd be a good hour of grinding if there was actually,
that many enemies on the map.
Yeah, 47 or 4650 enemies on the map, which there aren't.
Yeah, it just hasn't really been incentivizing me to play more than like the 20 to 30 minutes it takes me to do whatever's going on after the daily reset.
Yeah, and then if you do the ley lines, it gives you those fucking stupid ass Whopper Flower bastards, who I swear are the most annoying fucking enemies in the game.
I mean, they can be. I haven't had any problem with them because I'm always equipped to deal with them. I usually either have a fire or water person on me.
But they just don't stun unless they're using that special, and they take a ridiculous amount of damage, and they reset way too easily. Like, the enemies resetting in this game is absurd.
Yeah. Marsupial, have you played any more Genshin Impact since you started before?
Not really.
Not really? Yeah. It seemed like flavor of the month for some people, and then just kind of like faded off immediately.
I think it's because in a month, realistically, if you play it, like the flavor of the month game gets played, which is pretty much non-stop, there, you know, you run into a wall.
Well, I think a total, most people probably played about an hour of that game.
That, you know, yeah, that too. So, I think Forrest is said he was going to get up enough point to do another summon, and if he doesn't pull a 5-star, he's quitting the game, which is par on course for Forrest.
Oh yeah, he hates gotchas because of the RNG. I've found
At
it
the
funny
same
because I think
time-
you and I had about the same luck. Basically, within our first try of the Klee summon, we both got her.
Yeah, oh, no, I got her on the second try, but
Yeah.
I spend money on these things, and I'm okay with that because if I'm enjoying the game, I don't have a problem spending money on the game.
Yeah, I didn't.
Yeah.
I haven't bought any gems specifically. I did put money down on the Blessing of the Moon. I thought that was worth it. I don't think I'm gonna put any money down on anything else.
Yeah, I put it on the moon, I put it on the battle pass, and I bought some of the crystal bundles because, I have no self-control. But as it stands, like, I haven't really regret any of the money that I put down because I've enjoyed the game. Like, on my phone alone, I think I have 60 some odd hours in it, and that's just the phone. If I could track how much I've put on it in on computer without going through a bunch of bullshit that I don't feel like going through because I'm lazy.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty sure I've spent enough time to where the money I've given them, is maybe $1 an hour. But, like, if there's something to make me stop playing this fucking game, and it wasn't the resin system, it'd be the fucking camera. Like, I don't know how many times I have to tell it not to fucking zoom in for it to not zoom in.
Oh yeah, I'm constantly using my mouse wheel to scroll out all the time on
I
playing it.
spend more time zooming out during a fight than I do fighting, and it's infuriating. Like, the camera shouldn't be zooming in on its own.
Yeah, I hate that
shouldn't
you
be
could turn
zooming
off
out on its
the
own.
what they call the smart camera or whatever, the auto adjust, but then it still kind of does it anyway.
Yeah, well, it says close and open, which I don't know if that's just the translators being stupid or if it's actually supposed to be on and off, or it's just them saying, "Oh, we'll do it less." Oh, let me turn this shit off.
Yeah, because they're probably thinking like, well, if you turn it off completely and you accidentally pull back too much, you might end up in the ground and not see anything. It's like, well, you know what? That's my own fault. Let me control my camera.
Basically, yeah, and stop making the characters disappear. I want to know if Barbara actually is as pure as she acts.
Listen, man, I don't care about your panty quest for these fictional characters.
Excuse me, it is very important to find out whether or not Barbara's actually wearing any fucking panties at all.
No, it's not.
It is very important. That is the purpose of these games.
You're getting dangerous territory. There's some little girls in this game too.
Yes, but I'm not talking about doing that to the Chi-Chi or Klee, because they're adorable. They're not in any way, shape, or form at all my type of female, because they're underage.
I don't know, man.
Which is bad.
You're getting into dangerous territory.
It is bad, chat. You don't do that. But
Yeah, what's the phrase that the modern people use? I disavow. I disavow all of this.
Is that why it zooms in?
You know who approves that message, but a lot worse than what I said? Joe Biden. He just wishes there was a way to smell them.
But could you imagine if video games started having some type of smell-o-vision? I think
You know,
I
for
would
some of
probably
these
stop
dishes,
playing video games.
for some of these dishes, I would love it.
Yeah, but imagine you go and play Mario. Like, you spend so much time in the sewers. He's a dirty plumber. Do you really want
Yeah.
smell-o-vision in video games?
Well, certain ones, but because you said Mario, I do have to say that Nintendo would probably be the first
Oh yeah, if anybody does it,
company to do it.
yeah. And it
You
would
need that for
suck.
Cooking Mama or something.
Yeah.
No, because I don't know. I think Cooking Mama is not going to be redone anytime soon. With all the controversy and the information farming or whatever it was that it was doing, that got it pulled off the eShop and got all physical copies of it. Physical copies of it like stopped printing. It was at the point where GameStop would not buy those games, would not buy them.
Wario would
Which
be
doesn't
banned
mean
from
a whole
Smash
lot.
tourneys.
But like it got taken off of the eShop, and GameStop wouldn't buy that game. And with it being a new game is, surprising for GameStop. And we got to the point where we got an email saying that we were going to start taking Cooking Mama on the Switch again.
I never liked that
Replace
game
all
anyway.
the data harvesting with smell-o-vision.
Like, I enjoyed Cooking Mama, but on the Switch, I just didn't. I bought it because I'm like, yeah, it's Cooking Mama. I'll probably enjoy it. Played it once or twice. Haven't played it since.
You fool!
I think it's
The smell-o-vision
it's
is
got-
data harvesting.
probably. Oh, how does their nose respond to this? But it's probably part of the same issue a lot of people had with Skyward Sword, where it's only where it was almost purely motion control. But the difference for me between it and Skyward Sword is that at least there's actual story and movement in Skyward Sword as opposed to Cooking Mama, where I'm just pretending to cook. I'd rather actually use those movements to actually cook. And
So what are your feelings on Story of Seasons?
I don't know. I think I skipped that trailer or didn't pay enough attention to it.
You ever played any of those or Harvest Moon?
I have not. I've played Animal Crossing and what's that other one?
Stardew Valley?
And I enjoyed them. Animal Crossing. If Animal Crossing was more like Stardew, it'd probably have lasted for me a bit longer.
Yeah.
But Stardew, I don't know. The progression for Stardew can be really quick if you've played it before.
Yeah. See, my thing is I prefer Animal Crossing as a game. The reason this one didn't last for me is despite the fact that it actually gives you plenty to do daily because it has the milestone stuff at the top. It was the lack of character because the villagers just seem empty, right?
Yeah, they do all say the same stuff depending on the archetype that they are.
Yeah. Like in the first Animal Crossing, some of them were ruthless to you. You know, like they all had personalities and character to them.
I never really cared for any of the animals. In New Leaf, anyway.
I think my big issue with I think the reason Animal Crossing didn't last for me was because of when we got it. It was the only game I played for a significant period of time.
You have a tendency to play a game too much and burn yourself out on it.
I do, but I don't really have any other games to play when that happens, and that's part of the problem.
I'll be right back, guys. I have to go to the bathroom. I'll be right back.
So it's one of those things where I enjoy them, but there's just nothing else I want to play at that
Oh
moment
yeah,
in time, and it makes it kind of difficult.
Buck has a point too. You have to. You don't have to necessarily talk to them for a certain amount of time, but you have to progress your friendship, which in many ways may involve you talking to them in a certain amount of time before they even give you quests. Right? In the previous
Yeah,
Animal
and
Crossing games, all your quests came from like other animals in the town.
Yeah, and that's also a bit of the issue that there is that and it's not necessarily based off of how many times you talk to them. It's based off of how long you talk to them.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
might
Or
not get
like,
any quests for weeks for a character,
yeah.
just because it just so happened that that was the role that the game gave you.
Yeah. And you have to do stuff with them too. Like, one of the things that increases your friendship is by randomly coming across two animals talking together and interacting in that conversation. But a lot of times you find yourself running by, like, oh, look, there's two having a conversation. I'm going to talk to them. And their conversation's ending just as you get to them.
Yeah. Or you get in there and then you go to talk, and then one of them just starts stomping away, all pissed off.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, did I do that? Probably.
Then you have to try to calm them down.
Hey.
Yeah. I don't know. I really enjoy the game, but the problem is because there's not enough to do with the animals, which means it takes forever to raise your friendship. And I'm assuming you get their portrait the same way that you did in the previous games by maxing out your friendship with them. It would take forever to get that. And that's one of the driving factors of the game, is to unlock a lot of the shit, right? This game's driving factor seems to be you get given micro quests with that little miles plus marker at the top, right? To unlock miles, to basically take trips to islands to grind money to pay off your house.
Yeah, and
in this vicious cycle.
Once you're one of those people that's done the stalk market,
Yeah.
It's pointless.
Yeah, my house is paid off. It's been for a while. After one trip, like I had 531 was the price of my turnips that day, and I just opened my gates, and I think you were even one of the people too. Everybody just came in and left me tips, and my house was paid off right there.
That's usually how it works.
Yeah,
people come in, get rid of all their stuff, and then drop you a bag of money. Because if you get 7 bags, it's not a big thing to drop one.
One of our regulars, Darken Link, says that it stopped playing immediately after, or like a few days after he found out that the items broke on you, like they did in Breath of the Wild, and that was a major turnoff for him.
Yes, especially the golden items.
Yeah, it didn't bother me that the flimsy stuff broke very easily. Because they're flimsy, they're trying to do like this island survival thing. Thematically, it actually works better for that game than the durability system did in Breath of the Wild. I didn't mind the like iron items break amount, I guess it would be the way to say it, like whenever it would break. It seemed fair.
Yeah.
But the golden items, which the golden axe, the axe was the only thing that could break in the previous games, but the golden axe was like, hey, now you have an axe that never breaks. Those should never break once you take the time to actually build one, but it's like, what, 300? And then they break. And 300, it seems like a lot, but that comes and goes way faster than you think when you're actually grinding things all day.
Yeah, and unless you're trying to deforest your island, then it's worthless.
Well, also pissed me off is I was trying to forest my island.
The non-stone ones.
I want a rustic island because I like that old original Animal Crossing vibe, and that's what I wanted from it. And I don't want like a city style Animal Crossing game unless the game plops me in the city from the beginning. You know, I want that rustic vibe. And they basically punish you for wanting that because they want you to cultivate this into like some island resort. I was like, that's fucked up.
It's supposed to be an island getaway, not city.
Freaking having me build a Mar-Largo right here in the freaking bay of my island.
Yeah, and Trump's not even going to visit it, so.
Can you make a golf course?
Psh, I wish.
Technically, yeah. You just can't play golf.
I just want to make a lake in the shape of a Triforce. That's all I want to do.
Oh yeah, you could do that.
You can get pretty close to it.
Gold is hard to farm.
It is. Because it's RNG, so you don't know if it's going to come out of the rock you're farming.
Yeah.
I need quite a bit of
That
it.
sucks.
Because when I robot, and I was pretty close. I was just shy. I think I built the rocket that you need for it, but I need like a bunch of the other parts. You need a ton of iron for it too.
Yeah. And with the robots, they're kind of supposed to feel like endgame creation, so I can understand.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is a pain in the ass to find gold. Like, there's a money rock island, there might as well be a gold island.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I mean, there is an ore island, so you're going to have a higher chance of getting gold there, but you're going to just get mostly iron. Mostly iron.
I got a 50 experience drop off of a level 63 rune hunter. One of the rune golems.
Is that a lot?
It's nothing.
Yes and no. Because if you compare it to the drops the other enemies give you, it's a lot. But if you compare it to the amount that you need to progress a level, it's not.
If you compare it to like a single book.
Okay, so to get Klee from level 70 to 80, or 70 to 71, it is 138,175 experience.
Oh my God.
Which that doesn't sound off. I mean, when you get to higher levels in RPGs, experience does get like exponentially higher. The problem is, usually your ability to get experience also gets higher.
Yeah, the enemies give more experience.
So those 50 experience enemies, you have to kill 2,764 of them.
Yeah, and good luck finding that. Good luck finding that many of them.
Because there's like, what, 6, maybe 7 of them on the whole map? And they don't respawn very often. Yeah.
Yep. And if you can exclusively hunt those enemies. Yes, I do have we've gotcha habits, because I like waifus. If you hunt them down exclusively, they stop spawning for who knows how long.
Yeah. Well, the worst part is, too,
you
like, you actually do get quite a bit of experience hunting down the world bosses as well. But they only spawn, like, once a day at, like, the reset. And...
Are you talking the flowers and...
Yeah,
the
like
giant flowers and shit? No.
Yeah.
They respawn, it seems to be every 10 or so minutes.
Really? Mine have
but
actually
they're
bugged
still
out
not-
sometimes where they only respawn, like, once a day.
So, what I do is I'll go and I'll kill it. And then I'll go usually to the other continent, or not the other continent, the other zone.
Mm-hmm.
And do something there for 2 or 3 minutes, and then I'll warp back. And usually they're back, but even still.
But you miss out on the rewards if you kill them and don't use the resin.
Yeah, you miss out on the rewards. It makes it take a little bit longer for them to spawn, and there's another issue. Oh, the amount of time, they give you like 200 experience, I think.
For the amount of time it takes you to kill them.
it's still not worth it, especially since you are spending all that time and using a lot of food to make sure you don't die. And food's just another thing I have issues with. Because of how the amount of parts it takes.
Well, and also like how rare some of the resources are.
Yeah, like the meat is absurdly rare, and you need it for almost anything. The fowl is not, and you don't need it for everything.
Yeah, and to get red meat, there's very few animals that you can get it from. You can get it from boars, which is hard to come across. You can get it from foxes, but they're small and scurry really fast, so you have to really see them coming in a low field to know that they're there.
You can get them from squirrels, but then you feel bad about it.
Oh, I don't. I've eaten squirrel in real life.
So it's frustrating. And then you can do the smoked fowl recipe, but there's nothing that in the game currently that uses it. And there's nothing in the higher levels of food that uses the bird.
Yeah. There's a lot of things that they have planned, and it's like already there. You can stock up on them, but they don't need, like, what is bacon? Do you even have a recipe that uses bacon yet?
Yes, you have one or two. Let me finish fighting this witch bitch. And
I really don't need to know it.
No, yeah, there's like one or two, but they're both stat boosting items. Like there's an absurd amount of stat boosting items compared to recovery items.
And you only really need like 2 or 3 of the stat boosting ones anyway. Like you only want the 2 or 3 best ones.
But like right now, I've got stat boosting items that require more health point or require more ingredients than healing items. Like,
which
I've
also
got
makes you basically
yeah,
have to keep a healer in your team.
Basically, unless, you know, you want to die.
Yeah.
And then the 300-second fucking cooldown on healing items. Or
the revive?
Or 108. Yeah, which is... I understand it being high, but at the same time, when you have a stomach bar...
Yeah. Well, what I think is...
how much you need.
Instead of putting the cooldown on the items themselves, the cooldown should be on the character. Like, they could have revival sickness or something like that.
Yeah. I think I've got one recipe that takes bacon.
Do you remember when MMOs used to have revival sickness?
Yeah.
Like in WoW, if you died too many times.
Body.
Yeah. You think, well, you're going to have a debuff now because of revival sickness.
And you're like, okay. I'll still go kill stuff.
I'm glad most MMOs don't do that.
I've got all 40 recipes that are available right now. And the last recipe that uses bird is the Yuan chili chicken. And it is a stat boosting or attack boosting recipe. So this game has a really... And then like the stamina recovery items having, you know, 300 or 600 second cooldowns. for stamina recovery that's only going to recover 60 stamina. Like, what's the point?
Yeah. I don't know. I know I'm going to be playing that game on stream this Friday.
I'll be at work.
With, well, not on mine, on Cross Comics channel. I'm going to be running somebody who's much lower level, but will finally be at 15 by that point. Through, like, some of the world stuff. Which will be very easy. Like, we're probably going to fight the world bosses, like you and I do. And, I'll be, I think, I'm still only, like, in 60. I think my main character can get up to 70 now. Like, I just got to the point that I can, do that. And I'll basically just be nuking these, world level 0 bosses.
Yeah, but it definitely feels like they remember, because when you get up to world level in yours and you go fight them,
yeah,
they're assholes.
Oh, especially that water one.
So, no, the water one, strangely enough, is probably the one I have. Like, it's between the water one and the electrostasis are the ones that are the easiest for me.
Oh, I have no trouble with any of them except the water one.
Well, no, yeah. I don't either.
Yeah.
But if I want to go to one and just dunk on them because I'm in a bad mood, it's the water one or the electric.
Oh, this is probably because all my electric characters are underleveled.
Well, I'll switch between an electric character, usually Fischl, and Dilute. So I hit him with Overcharge, which is absurdly powerful.
Yeah.
No matter who the fuck the enemy is, and it's ridiculous, and probably will need to be nerfed at some point in time.
Nah.
But
I hate it when they nerf shit in non-competitive games.
Yeah, but you know,
this pissed me off actually about Borderlands 2 specifically, because it's the first Borderlands I would understand it because there was a competitive arena that you could go and play in, right? But in Borderlands 2, it was a non-competitive game outside of, like, if you're an asshole and decided to duel one of your teammates. It was completely cooperative. So what did they do? Some people were bitching that certain item combinations were broken and letting them take down raid bosses solo fairly fast. And they decided to nerf the game. And I was like, dude, glitches are one of the most fun part about games that are non-competitive.
They did it in 3 too.
Yeah.
The pipe bomb, where you could, you know, take down one of the bosses in a matter of seconds.
No, actually, at this point, Fischl's higher than Lisa.
And there's only
because Buck's like it's
3
because the
electric
only
characters, I think.
Yeah, I should read it out loud, but Buck says it's because the only electric character he even attempts to level is Lisa. Of the 2 I have, she's actually the lower one right now.
Yeah, I switched it so I can see chat.
Yeah.
No, I've got 3. I think there's only 3.
Yeah. I like Lisa
don't have
more
a
than
character
Fischl,
list,
but
and there
Fischl's
isn't one
just
in this fucking game.
much stronger than Lisa is.
Fischl's. I just want I want more characters that don't use short swords.
Yeah.
Because my playing team, which is Klee, Keckwing, Zingu, and Sucrose, is, you know, 2 casters and 2 short sword users.
Well, what's the weird thing about the MC, right? Who is a short sword, arming sword, you're going to call it. The MC is almost like a nerfed 5-star character.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like halfway between a 4 and a 5. So I don't think there is a 5-star short sword user yet. And
There
that's
is.
the oh, there. Who is it?
I gotta look at her name again. Kequeen,
Okay.
the electric user I'm using.
Oh, okay. So that one's probably the best electric. Because the real problem is that the 5 stars are just better
Yeah.
than other people. It's kind of like with Diluc, right? In general,
Well,
the short swords actually scale harder than the great swords do. But if you have a 5-star great sword user, he's going to be doing more damage than a 4-star short sword user. That's before elemental effects like overcharge and stuff like that.
well, if you look at on the character selection, your MC is orange border, which is
It's supposed to
saying
be
she's a
5.
5-star.
Yeah, but it's almost like a nerfed 5-star. Because you're not as strong
Like-
as the other 5-stars are.
Yeah, MC should be able to wield whatever fucking item
Oh,
or
yeah.
whatever weapon type you want to use.
Or
Yeah.
I can understand this too. Separately, so you can mix and match if you had to go to one of the statues and resonate with a weapon too. I'd be fine with that.
Yeah. I'd even be fine with starting or the weapons being locked behind which vision you're using. I would be good with that. So, but they're for like as many issues as there are. It's still a fun game.
Yeah. I'm trying to find out what was the other news. There was something else that. Oh yeah, we need to shit talk, or I'm gonna shit talk. I don't know if you guys will. I need to shit talk Tom Holland as Nathan Drake, who I don't think will play a good Nathan Drake at all.
I'm sorry.
Yeah,
What?
yeah. This has been announced a long time ago, but they finally showed pictures of him in the outfit. In the Uncharted live-action movie, Tom Holland is playing Nathan Drake. Soak that in.
Did they
for a
not want
little
to
bit.
put out the Robert Downey Jr. money? Because
Well, RDJ's a little
I could see
old
he's
and short to be
well, I
playing
mean-
Drake.
I can see him as it better than Tom Holland. I love Tom Holland, but Nathan Drake, he ain't.
Yeah. And like I've said before, if he's supposed to be a younger Drake, that's kind of fine. But I usually want to stick with the same guy. If he eventually becomes normal age Drake, it's still gonna be a bad match. Like I don't think Holland could play Drake well.
No, I don't either. But you know,
I don't know, Marsupio. How do you feel about that? If he's even still here.
he must have left again. Oh, Age of Calamity demo's out.
Yeah, we talked about that earlier.
Oh, okay then. I feel like it could either. I feel like it's a different timeline, obviously.
What, than the actual game? Like Breath of the Wild?
Well, it's the timeline that the little guardian goes to is on a different shift than the one he was in. So, either the one he was in was our original timeline, so the one that we play in Breath of the Wild, or Age of Calamity's on a different shift. It's part of how I'm thinking based off of how it, at least how it started up.
Yeah.
And the fact that the trailer shows you using the fucking divine beasts,
I don't know.
and them knowing how to shoot the cannons.
Apparently, they also have Mark
Yep.
Wahlberg playing Sully. I don't agree about that he would have been a good Nate. Maybe back in the 90s he could have been a good Nate, but even then, I don't know if I would have picked him for it.
I kind of want is he still alive? I can't remember his name, but he played Mario in the Mario Brothers movies.
No, Bob Hoskins is dead. He's been dead since
Okay, well
2016.
Bob Hoskins probably would have been a good Sully. Just
I
body
mean, he
type
would
wise.
have pulled it off. He would not have been my pick for it. Heck, I'd probably throw Bruce Campbell in as Sully.
I don't know names.
Ash from The Evil Dead.
I've never watched. Oh wait, no, I think I've watched it like once.
You ever watch Burn Notice?
Is he the main character in Burn Notice?
No. He's his older
Okay,
friend,
then no.
who's basically like Sully.
I could recognize the face of the main character, and that's it.
Yeah. I mean, there's a few people that I would say would make a better Sully. Marky Mark is not the person I would have went to for that either.
No, I can agree with that. You know what? Fuck it. Let's just throw Vince McMahon in as Sully. Vince could still be Drake.
Cannot hear a word you're saying.
What?
Buck, why don't you just go into the room that Tommy's in?
Because then he couldn't hear any responses.
Also because fuck you.
Understandable. I can understand that.
Okay. You two talk about why I'm possibly wrong about this casting decision of yours, Buck. I too have to pee. I was hoping Marsupial would come back so I could take the moment to do that. I'll be right back.
What were you talking about? How? No, I agree with some of it. I don't know who the casting is, and I don't know the names of people. You can't host this responsibility on me.
I think he's mostly talking about how I thought that Mark Wahlberg would be an okay Nate, which, I mean, I guess technically if you look at it, he wouldn't be as good as you can get, but he's definitely better than Tom Holland.
No, 100%. 100%.
But yeah, it is supposed to be a younger Drake, but yeah, the whole point is that they're like planning a series of movies, and the first one is supposed to take place before the games even took place, but they're supposed to catch up to when the games take place. So, like, that is a big assumption that Tom Holland will grow into somebody who would make a believable Drake.
Yeah. And he's not whoever. And like as much, I'm still talking. I'm walking away. As much shit as people give Christian Bale. He went from skinny fucker to Batman-sized fucker. I don't see Holland doing that.
Okay, I'm back.
No, definitely not. I mean, maybe if he like keeps working out, he can get a swimmer's build eventually, but
I don't see him being able to bulk up.
I mean, he could to a degree.
Well, I mean,
the problem is it's not gonna. You probably mentioned this since I'm just hopping back in. Drake has kind of like that footballer's build, right? Like a big rugby player. While Holland,
but
if he bulks, he doesn't have the frame for it, right? So he could bulk, but then it's going to be pulling out, so he's going to have like that really rounded muscle.
Okay,
yeah, it's like I was saying. At best, he'll get a swimmer's build.
No,
That's
I mean
pretty
he
much
could
it.
go higher than a swimmer's build. It's just not going to look right. It's gonna look.
Okay, well then let's get me into the movie instead
it's
of
like
Tommy Holland.
what's his name? Do you remember your complaints about Zachary Levi's muscle suit build? Which wasn't entirely. He did bulk up some, but some of it was extra padding. The problem is when you don't have the frame. When you don't have the frame for something, as the muscle comes out, it starts to like round like that, and it looks bubbly. I don't think he could pull off building the muscle is the real thing. Not that it's like physically impossible for him to bulk up. It's just gonna look awkward.
Yeah, because he's old enough that his frame isn't really going to get any bigger.
Yeah. He's fully matured physically.
And with how, if I'm assuming that, well, it's got to be being produced by Sony, because Sony's not going to let anybody touch any of their stuff.
Well, that's probably why they pulled Holland in the first place. He's already on Sony contract.
There's
it was probably cheaper.
There's obviously going to be Spider-Man joke, or
maybe
references in the movie. Like, not big ones. There might, they might have Drake get a phone call and Spider-Man theme will be playing or something. It's Sony.
Yeah.
And Spider-Man merch.
I don't know. I've got so many problems with this. First off, even before they announced who was going to be in it, I was pretty sure this wasn't going to be a good movie, because let's look at the track record of video game movies. There's some that can kind of stand okay as films if you remove the context of it being part of a video game franchise. But I can maybe name 2, maybe 3 adaptations of video games that were done correctly. One of them being more recently like Detective Pikachu. The other being like Tomb Raider.
Dude, apparently Antonio Banderas is in it.
Well, then couldn't we just have Antonio Banderas be Sully?
It would be better than Marky Mark.
Yeah, definitely.
Because I feel like that is the kind of character that he is really good at playing.
Yeah, and with how big he's gotten in his age, he'd pull off Sully's frame pretty well too.
Hell, John C. Reilly would be a better Sully than Marky Mark.
You know what? Fuck it. Let's have Brock Lesnar be Drake and Paul Heyman be Sully.
Why?
Because why the fuck not?
I mean, the movie's gonna be shit anyway.
Exactly. This way, you don't have to have a budget on weapons for fuck, god damn it, for Drake, because he's gonna stare at people and they're gonna fucking explode.
I mean, at this rate, most of the movie is probably going to be Tom Holland free running away from people.
And climbing. Don't forget climbing.
Just straight up.
For as much shit as Breath of the Wild gets for being a climbing simulator, Uncharted was definitely that long before.
No, see, it's not even going to be like Uncharted. Tom Holland's just going to grab the air and start climbing up, and we're not going to see him until the end of the movie.
Is that because he's not going to be feeling so good, Mr. Stark?
And the very last thing he says at the movie is going to be, "Oh crap."
And another thing I don't like is, so Holland's he's an okay actor. I mean, I haven't really gotten to see the full breadth of his ability. Mostly because he's being hampered by the fact that he's playing Peter Parker, which he should not be playing as an actor.
Yeah, because he's not gonna.
I hesitate to even call the character he plays Peter Parker.
Yeah. But I can't tell how good or bad he is as an actor because of that. And he's now becoming that guy just because he played one really popular character that everybody's like, oh, this guy should play every character. Like you've seen that on the internet, right? Where people are like fan casting him in different roles. Kind of like how,
Yeah.
weirdly enough, for some reason, if there's to be a black superhero or a like race bended version, everybody immediately goes to Michael B. Jordan, even though he's not a horrible actor, but he's like a B-lister at best.
I legitimately only know one movie he's been in, and it is a movie I have no intention on seeing ever.
To be honest, the dude has a habit of getting in really shitty films.
Yeah. Like, I enjoyed him
So
in
that's
Parenthood.
either
He
because
played
of
a good
him,
role in
or
the show
that is his,
Parenthood, but...
No, I think it's his bad luck, because he's like the only tolerable actor in half of those films.
Then he needs a new agent.
Definitely.
Yeah, definitely. He should literally just drop kick his agent.
Actually, where is Discord? Buck, you are really loud. I need to lower you. Here we go. For some reason, Discord had you at 200. Probably just because you were really quiet last time. But this time, you're just like booming in my ears. There we
I mean,
go.
to be fair, this time around we've got Duggar here, and I actually know him better.
So, excuses, the internet.
Who? What?
Well, the last time it was just me, Metal, and Marsupial, and I tend to get quiet around people I don't know that well, and I don't really know Marsupial that well yet.
Same.
Yeah, I don't know. It's the internet. You can't even prove that I know any of you. Well, actually, Buck, you could by walking into the room, but Duggar, you can't prove it.
Let me just find that picture we took at that shitty launch event
Yeah.
where I got
Yeah.
oh, he did it this time.
Yeah.
Where I got to see how amazing certain cosplayers' pits were in real life, and how amazingly resting bitch face their at the time girlfriend's.
Dude, I hated that event
faces.
too. Like, I don't regret
That
going,
event-
but
No, not at all.
Yeah.
But like, God, that sucked.
I hate raves. I didn't know it was gonna be a rave, but
I'm
I
like,
fucking
oh, it's a
hate
launch
raves.
event. Maybe we'll get to play for a little bit.
No.
You know, meet neat people. Nope. We're gonna rave.
Can't even prove that I know any of it. Well,
Well, Tommy can, and I can prove that I know Tommy. So, by extension, you know how the universe works and how Facebook believes things. We must be best friends.
I always see, like, because obviously
got
there's
to
been a
see
lot of
how-
people who know people
Cos-
way earlier than, say, you actually knew each other on Facebook. And I keep seeing them trying to give me these friendiversaries for people that I've known for, like, years, you know? Like, hey, you've known this guy for a decade. It's like, well, longer than that. In my life before you, Facebook. Come on, get real.
That's just this cycle of Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
You think I've only known Forrest for 10 years? I wish. But, you know.
Some of these people I knew since MySpace. Get on a different level, Facebook.
Yeah, just don't turn into MySpace.
No, dude.
Please, dear
dude,
God.
dude, MySpace was better than Facebook.
Okay, well, then... I don't
Old
know.
MySpace, not new one. New MySpace sucks. It's like band stuff.
Okay,
and
so-
pictures.
We can have the top 8 shit.
Yes, let's bring back the competition. And people
Oh,
bitching
God.
about that stuff.
Why am I not on your top 8?
Cause you're a
We're
bitch.
dating. Basically, that would... Because you're a fucking bitch.
You know? It's like, why am I not on your top 8? I've got 7 siblings.
And if I don't...
Goes
put
to
my
look,
mother
none of
here,
them are the 7 siblings.
gonna be killed.
You only have 8 friends. How am I not in the top 8?
Well, so you see, I gotta put Tom there.
Yeah, Tom. Dude, Tom, he would have never done us wrong. But we all abandoned him, so
I,
he's like, screw it, I'm selling the thing.
I feel like I left MySpace as it after he had sold it. But then again, that also kind of feels like it was decades ago as well. So I don't fucking know.
Well, I think he still had it up
I
until...
literally logged in. I literally logged in once and then forgot I had a MySpace and never logged in again.
I logged into it recently because I was hunting somebody down.
I don't even think my old MySpace account exists, and if it does, I don't know the address, the email, or any of that shit.
Yeah. It doesn't look the same. It's like a music thing now. Like band pages and stuff. And you can still upload pictures. I think they still have any old pictures you did upload to it, but it's just not the same place. I actually got pissed because it took people forever to get me onto MySpace because I was always reluctant to social media.
Yeah.
And by the time they finally did, it's like, okay, you know what? I'm going to start using this thing. I decked everything out. Everybody abandoned it for Facebook. I was like, well, fuck you guys. I'm not going to Facebook.
Real quick, because I started it up because I feel like playing it. So with the fucking Rise of the Calamity, is that the Clash of Demon? The Clash
Calamity?
Demon Head. I don't fucking know. Whatever the fuck. If this little guardian doesn't get destroyed by the end of this game, it's in a different timeline. It has to be. Because there's no traces of this little fucker.
Well, you know
anywhere.
what? I'm going to say wrong because none of the timelines exist.
Well, since this is directly based off, or, you know, since this is supposed to be directly 100 years ago.
We're also talking about Nintendo, where one of their biggest teams, the Mario team, doesn't even believe in the concept of canon.
This is also true.
Yeah. Dillard asks, where is Marsupial? I don't know. He went to the bathroom, then he came back, but then he turned his camera off again and muted himself, so who the heck knows?
I really hope he's not doing what one of the items would, or one of the ideas would be.
Pulling a CNN host?
Oh, would that be him getting super pissed off about...
No, I was going to say
Wait,
jerking off in the middle of a Zoom call.
Oh, yeah, because they got pissed off about something, right?
I guess, I don't know.
Did I finish the demo already? I think so.
No, I was just saying before that I'm probably not going to be able to play it until Sunday, because as soon as I'm done with this stuff, I got to go back to making assets for a tabletop RPG I'm running.
Yeah, I got nothing to do until tomorrow.
Should you come in? Sure. I mean, we talked about the buckler earlier, but we got like half an hour to blow if you want to promote your comic throughout the rest of the stream. I think I talked about it for a good 5 minutes straight, maybe more than that. But you could definitely go on way longer than I could.
Stop.
I think you were even still in the chat when I was doing it.
Itty bitty guardian.
Because he has a campaign going live very soon. Like the end of next week. It's going to be great. Hopefully. I mean, I know the book's going to be great, but I mean, the campaign hopefully will be great. You never know how much you're going to pull on this stuff.
This is true.
It's all about, what's it called? Inflating support. You got to basically pull everybody to you, and it's hard to do on the internet. Everybody's eyes are already fixated on whatever they were previously looking at. It's hard to, like, turn their attention over to where you are. It's a big market.
It is.
You got this high-quality bait for all these fish in the sea, but they're too busy nibbling on chum.
Yeah.
You don't want to talk about this comic. Okay, you don't have to. I mean, you can come in if you just want to come in. You don't have to talk about your comic.
We'll consider you a temporary replacement for Marsupial since he apparently fell in.
Well, I mean, he's a Sith. He can come in whenever the hell he wants. No, we could talk about the Buckler in depth some other time. You don't have to talk about video games either. The show isn't only about video games. It's actually about anything. It's just I happen to really like video games. And every person who has been my co-host at any point in time also happens to like it, so that's what we mostly end up talking about.
We
Plus,
could
it should
talk.
be
We could ask.
expected.
We could ask who built the cages. Wonder if we'll ever
Bowser.
get an answer.
Bowser built the cages.
This is probably true, to be honest.
I like how the two guys who have their webcams on are wearing Nintendo shirts.
Well, looks like I gotta take my shirt off.
Oh no, we're on Twitch.
Oh, are we?
Yeah.
Okay, well, I'll put fingers over my nipples.
Since that seems to be the only place that has a problem with it. Well, I don't know. I don't know if DLive does. Probably not. I know YouTube doesn't. Freaking YouTube.
No, YouTube. With some of this stuff Markiplier's put out over the past year, YouTube has very minimal problems when it comes to nudity.
Well, they have problems with full frontal.
Well, yeah, but you know he was.
I think
They
everything
always
does,
make
though.
sure to blur out the mark of penis.
I mean, to be honest, who doesn't have problem with full frontal when it comes to like streaming and stuff like that? Outside of like actual porn sites.
I was gonna say probably one of them cam sites, but you beat me to it.
Yeah. Like Chatterbait. Just like the most ridiculous
Yeah,
name.
but Chatterbait's still just a bunch of fucking dudes jacking off. Nobody wants to see that.
Well, Project Melody's on Chatterbait.
I don't know who that is
The
or what that is.
Project Melody, she's a VTuber. She's a virtual wholesome hentai girl.
Can I just say how stupid I find the idea of VTuber? Like,
You
'cause,
can.
like, come on.
I like them.
Like, I don't follow Bunny Ayumi to see a virtual version of her.
I don't follow
for a
her
virtual version
to
of,
see anything but pictures.
I don't follow her for a virtual version of her titties bouncing. I want to see the real things bouncing. You know?
Well, the thing is, so the successful VTubers are the ones that typically have like entertaining personalities, right?
Well,
And let's face it, most people in general aren't attractive. Right? They're average looking. That's the nature of averages. To another species, most of us might be ugly, but due to the nature of averages and how we've adapted, we're going to find most people average looking. Right? That's how adaptive nature works. So, how can you kind of like surmount this problem? You can create an attractive avatar to put your attractive personality behind. And boom, you've got the best of both worlds now.
hey, waifus.
The weird part, though,
I don't know.
is some of them, even though they're being played by adults, are kind of like making themselves look like underage girls.
Yeah.
Like Gargara, the shark waifu.
I have no idea who that is.
I am fairly certain that she is not a minor. But she's doing a voice to sound like one. and is playing a character that looks like one.
Like, I don't know, like, the only VTubers I've seen are ones I've seen in real life that are actually pretty fucking attractive in real life. So I don't know why they go for the animated shit.
It's because it's the craze, and they're trying to catch on to it.
Well, you know, fucking hell.
And some of them are into modeling, so they just, but you know, computer modeling, so they just use it as an excuse to practice their craft.
Well, I know the one he's specifically talking about. She bought hers.
I'd rather her go back to modeling, quotation marks around modeling, because you know it was basically softcore. But you know, I'm not against it.
Yeah, there's a few I follow, especially some of the HoloLive people, just because they're entertaining. Like some of them are. Most of them are Let's Players, though. That's the weird thing. It's like,
yeah, a Let's Player as a, yeah, that's kind of.
They're just kind of like it's the equivalent of green screening yourself in front of the game, except now you're bypassing it by having just a fully digital avatar.
Yeah, it's kind of pointless. But, you know.
Yeah. Some of them are super funny. I understand why they're popular amongst the Zoomers. Because that's the thing. It's the Zoomer trend. That's the people who are specifically attracted to this thing.
Which, fuck it, I'm going for my waifu if I can actually go through and... Oh. Damn it, I can't do any of the champion stuff. That's frustrating.
Yeah.
I think I'm done with the demo. Except for like one more...
Well, it's a demo. How much do you expect to get out of it?
I wanted to see Urbosa.
Urbosa. I do like Urbosa. I like Riju more.
Yeah, but Riju's
I'm waiting
age,
for.
so I can't
I'm waiting for Riju. I think she's probably going to become like Urbosa. Eventually.
It's possible. Well, if you
they're voiced by the same person.
Based off of the Elizabeth Maxwell. Mm-hmm. If you go by the law of averages, and you consider the rest of the Gerudo, it is highly likely that she will turn out to be like Urbosa.
If not almost identical. Being that she is her descendant.
We will see...
Never.
How many years have passed.
Because I think Breath of the Wild 2 is going to pick up pretty much immediately afterwards, so she's probably still going to be basically a kid.
Zelda has at least had enough time to get a haircut. And
yeah,
I
but
don't know if
how long
Link
does that
chops
take?
It off. Well, it depends, because I don't...
They could literally just stop at Hateno and somebody could cut her hair.
Well, you know, you don't really see anybody with short hair. So I'm not sure if...
Wasn't there that one Hylian chick in the Gerudo village?
Did she have short hair?
I think so. She had like short, purplish, supposed to be like black hair.
I don't know. I'd have to load up the game.
She's like the only Hylian that you meet that's like the same size as Link. Because he's like shorter than the shortest adult woman. But that's appropriate. Link was always short.
He was. Although it is extremely pronounced in this game.
Not as much as it was in Ocarina of Time.
Well, no, like, yeah. But in this one, like, you have him standing in formation, and he's easily a head and a half shorter than the rest of the knights.
Yeah. That's about the same as it was, though. Except for Mipha. So Mipha was, I think, shorter than him originally.
Well, yeah, but
Mipha's a dinky.
Also... Mipha was also in severe love with him.
Yeah. Actually, what I would have
Too
found
bad
it
for
funny
me,
is
but-
if what they should have done is back when the calamity happened, Link should have been like normal average height, and they should have implied that everybody just grew in that time. Hey, Diller, what's up?
I was curious as to where you were going with
Yeah.
that one, to be completely honest with you.
Do you have something interesting to talk about?
Even if it's not interesting, it might still be enjoyable to hear.
I wonder if he realizes that he's muted. Guess we'll play the waiting game.
Did you say something in chat? Restream chat?
No.
Dude, am I roboting a grip?
You aren't roboting at all.
I don't know, my battery died on my laptop. I forgot that I had taken the power cord out.
Oh,
And
okay.
it's like at 1-2% right now charging. But like every time I click on something, it's taking forever to do anything.
Because you're not pulling enough power to do it. Yeah.
So what's new?
Oh, there were a lot of things that were new. We covered for the last 2.5 hours, yeah.
This show is super long.
It's about the same
Giggity.
length of a normal radio talk show.
Yeah, super long.
Giggity.
Did you know that when an ant dies, it releases a chemical that tells the other ants to go put it to the burial ground?
I did know that. But thank you for putting an ant fact on here, because it's been a while since we have one, and this is known as Antcast.
Wait, what? I thought it was the Vomitorium.
Oh, it's a
Wrong
joke.
place.
Since the very first episode, we've been randomly inserting ant facts into the show because it pissed off one of my co-hosts, who's not on the show anymore.
No, well then it's pointless.
Good riddance.
We need random facts that would piss somebody else
Okay.
off.
Real quick before I go on, how do I change this so that I see everybody that's in the chat? Or can I do that?
Oh, you have to hit
Click
video.
on where it says the Vomitorium Live.
That was 2 instructions. What?
Okay, on the side where it says voice connected, there's the video button underneath that.
Uh-huh.
Did you click on it?
It's working. There it goes. Okay.
Ay.
Oh, wait, so is my video not showing right now either?
Yeah, it's not showing at the moment. Your voice is still coming
It's
through.
loading.
Yeah, it's like buffering or something.
It might just be because of the low power of your system right now.
You got low power.
Giggity,
No, I'm
giggity,
plugged
goo.
in.
Oh, yeah. So, dude, I'm starting to panic a little bit about this campaign.
Are you?
Yeah, I'm like, I didn't give myself enough time to set up and get ready to go. But then at the same time, I'm like, if I don't do it, it's gonna be put off forever.
Yeah, yeah. You kind of have to box yourself into that corner.
Yeah. I got new things happening. I'm not gonna click on anything.
But yeah, so you're feeling that anxiety a little bit?
Yep.
Defeat the Breach of Demise monsters.
Okay.
What?
So we were
That's
confused.
the task I have, and it says Breach of Demise. I don't remember.
Yeah.
an
He's just
area in
playing a
Breath of the
game
Wild
while on here.
Called- Breach of
Oh,
Demise.
you gotta do
Well,
something
yeah.
for 3 hours.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
he's,
he hasn't
he's
been
playing
here.
the demo for the new Legend of Zelda game that came out. Well, that hasn't come out yet, but it's going to.
So I
Well,
was
the demo
confused.
came out. Technically, you're right.
When you said 10 days left, is that counting today? When does it go live?
Oh, 9 days from now.
9 days from now. Okay.
No, I got no idea. I just picked a random number.
Oh, okay.
You Tommied it.
I wanted to do it on a Friday. I got a payday. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That'd be a good day.
And Saturday is dead on YouTube, dude. I don't know why.
You know what's weird?
I guess people got lives even though they're not allowed to.
Saturday is actually one of the best days to upload, but not to go live.
Interesting.
Yeah. Because the two best times to upload are Wednesdays and Saturdays during the early evening, like around 5-ish.
Mm. So I'm going to ask you a question. I know you don't live in California and probably don't care. But have you heard about the rules that the governor is trying to give everybody for Thanksgiving?
No, I have not. I do care.
Less than 3 people or something?
Oh my god, it's hilarious. Like, the most hilarious thing about it, this is an actual law. Okay? I don't know, I didn't vote on these laws. I don't know how they became laws, but apparently you can get a ticket for it now. There is to be no singing or shouting because the singing and shouting spreads the virus faster. And if you are to sing, you are to sing at using your indoor voice.
Who the hell is the governor of California? Burgermeister Monster Burger?
So
This hamburger motherfucker.
Grinch.
So are the rioters not singing or shouting? Are they doing all this stuff quietly?
Yeah. So we're having a Thanksgiving protest.
Yeah.
Well,
It's mostly
just have a
peaceful one.
Thanksgiving protest and you'll be safe.
Yeah.
You
They
just gotta
know that,
burn down some buildings, though.
How can you have Thanksgiving without shouting? To be honest, like, they think this through.
Listen to this. Those who do participate in these activities should do so quietly, at or below the volume of a normal speaking voice, and wear a face covering while engaging in the activity.
Face covering
Sounds like I'd get a ticket just for speaking.
while eating dinner.
You're supposed to move your mask down.
All
put
food
it
and
in your
drink.
mouth and move it back up.
This is all food and drink should be served in disposable containers. Also, you are not allowed inside, only to use the restrooms.
What kind of disposable containers? Paper? Because I know you guys can't have plastic over there in California.
A place for washing hands or hand sanitizer must be made available for use at the gathering, and all attendees should wash their hands or use sanitizer frequently.
If they're not allowed to go into the house, how are they going to be able to wash their hands?
I don't know. I guess you got to hook up a hose. Huh?
Or set up a
Aren't
bird
y'all
bath?
Aren't y'all rationing water too?
Mm-hmm.
Like y'all always do around this time of the year?
Also,
Clear
the
out your
event
forest?
the event cannot last longer than 3 hours.
So that just sounds like a sped up silent potluck.
Like, so how are you supposed to follow the other guidelines that tell you where you're supposed to tell your family that if they're Trump supporters, they should burn it. They should burn in hell, and that they're racist homophobes. Because isn't that what you're supposed to do during Thanksgiving and Christmas too?
Oh yeah.
So like all the food has to be prepared ahead of time too. Family can't come over and help you cook.
The people that are serving the food, there should be a designated server, and this person cannot take off their mask through the entirety of the event.
So basically, they can't eat.
Right.
Yeah, this.
It's all kinds of great stuff, dude. It says you can have 3 households maximum, like your brother and his family, your sister and her family, you and your family, and that's it.
Well, I mean, I guess that's
people
not
are
too
getting-
bad for a Mexican family because you all live together anyway.
Yeah.
You should invite other families along.
Why are there 50 people here? Well, you said 3 households.
This is 3 of our households.
No, and I believe they limit that to 6 people per household.
Hmm.
Oh,
Man, sounds like California.
guess who are not from the same household must socially distance, and food is not to be shared. Masks should be worn except when people are eating and drinking. Singing, chanting, and shouting are strongly discouraged because those activities increase the release of respiratory droplets and fine aerosols. People who are sick or medically vulnerable may not attend. Those who come down with coronavirus-like symptoms within 48 hours need notify all others who attended. And the host or organizer needs to keep track of who attended in case the government needs to be notified.
This should be none of the
Fuck would I
government's
need to
damn
notify
business.
the government? It's not the fucking government's business how many fucking people I have at my party.
Yeah, basically. Plus, we're all Mexican, so if any cop show, we just all pull our guns out on them.
Yeah.
Yeah, get the fuck out of here. There's gonna be trouble.
You gotta
Right.
ask yourself one question. Do you feel lucky? Punk?
Okay, so I got an idea, Metal. What do you think about this idea? Do you remember the old trailers for like the High Sierra, like the Humphrey Bogart movies?
Yeah.
That have, the black and whites, all that. What if I just do the scenario, right? I black out the entire room, put a hard light behind myself, just so I'm all silhouetted.
Yeah.
And do like an Alfred Hitchcock type description.
Yeah, that could work.
And it'll just be, maybe I'll silhouette myself like side view.
Mm-hmm.
And just like be sitting there like, I don't know, pontificating and talking about this story like, and it says, and then it'll end with something along the lines of, and it starts how every story starts, with murder. You know?
Yeah.
Like something stupid.
But you gotta have like a wine glass in your hand if you're gonna do that.
I'm gonna be smoking heavily.
Yeah. No, I think it would work. You wrap a little humor in there, some like dark comedy in your scenario. I think it would work really well.
Describing the horrors of Thanksgiving on a COVID environment.
Well, no, the horrors of
No,
Winnipeg.
that's too scary.
You know the mean streets of Winnipeg.
Yeah.
And then
Well,
I need to really dial down. I think I'm gonna take one of these images, either this page that I'm working on now, or the page I worked on previously, and really decking this thing out in some fantastic, beautiful, vibrant colors, and then making the transition from the noir to this fantastic, vibrant color.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know. It's an idea.
I'm liking the idea. But yeah, especially liking the whole idea of like the kind of Hitchcock Bogart sort of trailer. I think that's a
Plus,
good idea.
it'll put on airs like I'm some sort of a great storyteller, you know?
Yeah. You know, fake it till you make it.
You're gonna say, "Oh man, this guy must have a great story. He's basically Hitchcock."
Well, if you're gonna do that though, you need to take some lessons from Rick Piper and Hitchcock. It's got to have a lot of birds.
Fuck that shit. Maybe to pull it off, I'll take a hint from Piper and just accentuate my double chin.
Birds and birds and more birds.
Shit.
Just end on a video of you throwing rubber chickens at people.
Or actual chickens. Do you have access to actual chickens?
I can get an actual chicken.
Yeah.
So many jokes that I want to make.
Just start launching chickens at people. Like dodgeballs.
Or I could pull out a rubber chicken and be like, it's also a comedy, and then just end it.
Yeah, yeah.
I used to think my life was a tragedy. Now I realize it's a comedy. There's a rubber chicken in my hand. Editor, put a rubber chicken in my hand.
There's also a few jokes. Apparently, the wolf's dog got sprayed by a fucking skunk.
Did he?
That's
I mean, see that.
Tragedy.
That stinks.
No. That's Evan's avatar.
Oh.
Evan's
Whatever.
dog got sprayed by a skunk. That's even worse.
It's gonna set him back a few days on the harem manga.
A few months, maybe. You hear like
This is the reason why he's gonna say he didn't actually do it.
Yeah. Which
I got
Yeah,
skunk.
but
I got skunk smell on my script.
the audience that listens to this show knows about it too, because we've talked about it a few different times in the past. But Evan has actually tried pushing back the due date again for the Harem Manga contest.
To what? November? Fucking next year or what?
It'd have to be next year because December was already the original pushback due date. It'd have to be no less than January, maybe even spring.
Damn, Evan just burned Todd to death. I gotta react with some fire. Evan said, I was hoping Todd could lull the dog to sleep by name-dropping comic pros.
I mean, with how much he's been trying to push it back, I could probably still enter. Not that I'm going to.
I don't know, he pushes it back far enough. I might actually do it.
Yeah.
Fucking open up the soda. I made a mess all over myself.
Yeah. I'm almost done with those maps I've been working on too. So we should be should be good to go on Saturday.
Real quick.
Fantastic.
Talking about delays and pushbacks. Has there been a game that has been delayed publicly more than Cyberpunk at this point in time?
Yeah.
I believe so. I just can't remember which ones.
I'm trying to legitimately think of ones that have
Kingdom Hearts
actual
3.
actual release dates.
Kingdom Hearts
that
3
have
had
been
4
delayed.
different release dates throughout its life cycle.
Kingdom Hearts 3.
Mm-hmm.
Well, let's
4
hope Cyberpunk
different
doesn't
set release
take
dates that got eliminated.
Let's hope that Kingdom Hearts 3 doesn't influence Cyberpunk in any way other than the release delays. Hopefully. Because Kingdom Hearts 3, it exists.
Yeah.
I agree.
That's about it. It exists. Should it exist?
I got 20% battery now, and it's still not letting me turn on my camera. What the fuck's going on?
You might have
man.
to tell it that camera's the right camera.
I think I gotta put on makeup or something.
Oh yeah, it's probably just not liking what it's seeing.
Yep.
Yeah. Maybe you're just really ugly.
No, well, no, I am, yes.
Patrick. You gave me the ugly.
Man, Marsupial still just has not returned. Wonder if he's okay.
I don't
does
wonder
anybody
that at all.
have a way of contacting to make sure that he's still alive?
No.
No.
Oh, okay. Well, I hope you're alive, Marsupial, but if you're not, well, shit.
It was nice knowing you. We'll forever put this down as the stream you died on.
The one with Marsupial's death.
That's what
Or his last words, was he talking about some waifu?
I don't remember.
No, because it was.
embarrassing.
He went to the restroom and then came back, and I don't think he said anything.
Was he breathing heavily?
No.
Well, no, I think he came back, he turned his camera and his mic on, and they were on for like 15 seconds, and then they went off again.
When he came back, was he like rubbing and like babying his like arm, like he was having a heart attack? Or?
No.
I don't.
So
I don't
his
know.
last
I wasn't
words was
looking.
just, "I'm gonna go use the restroom."
He was like, he sounds worse than ever.
I don't know. He sounded about the same to me, but his connection seemed a bit more stable. That was the only difference, so you could hear the coughing more.
It's almost like, you remember that movie Little Big Man with Dustin Hoffman?
I'm trying to remember if I've seen that one. What was the plot to it?
Well, he was like a Native American. He was telling his story, but in the very beginning of the movie, he's playing himself, but as a very old man. And this is exactly what Marsupial sounds like. He sounds like an enfeebled, sickly old man.
Oh yeah, I've seen this.
Like if you were to do a parody of your voice, but just like
Yeah.
I'm old and I don't know what I'm. That's what he sounds like. He made a comment in my DMs earlier, saying that he's claiming to have a deep and raspy voice. You know, like when you get sick and you get that sexy voice.
Yeah.
That's not what he has. He sounds like he's knocking on death's door. Sounds like he's 105.
You know who's not 105?
Anyone
Ooh.
left on this panel?
What? I was gonna say RGB or RBG. Yeah, RBG is not 105.
No, she's dead.
Yep.
Oh, and I also
Very
remember, that's why I used that number, 105, because of the movie Young Guns. In the end, where they say, well, it's 100 against 5. You know, and they're talking about Murphy's men coming to get him. And in I think Young Guns Part 2, Emilio Estevez also does a very piss poor job of playing himself very old.
Yeah.
And has another example of the kind of voice.
You know why? Because he just doesn't want to try to do an impression of his dad.
Or as when what's his name, Dick Van Dyke,
Yeah.
plays the banker in in Mary Poppins.
Yeah.
I was actually about to say that's what you sounded like when you were mimicking him.
Mallet's asking, why is Dills here?
I don't know. I was available.
Why the fuck not?
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
the
I got a stupid immature shirt on. I could be on this show.
Wow.
Hey, I'm not going to say that my shirt's
Wow.
not stupid or immature. I mean, it's literally...
I could show you my shirt right now. It's a clear cut case of Arrested Development on my half as well.
well,
I
you
have a
could
shirt.
if your camera wanted to work.
I got a shirt with Bruce Campbell on.
Bruce Campbell's
Nintendo,
the
why
best.
did you not put both No More Heroes 1 and 2 in a collection?
Nope, it's going to be on two
Why?
separate things.
I'm sorry, what's that?
Oh, so those, he was talking about two games and why they're not in one collection. They're just going to be two separate ones. They're old games that are being ported over.
Yeah.
Is it Golden Axe?
No,
No, it's No More Heroes 1 and 2.
which is like a modern day beat 'em up in many ways.
I wonder if I can download like Altered Beast and Golden Axe and just play it on the laptop here.
You can.
Yeah.
It's easy. I can probably walk you through it later.
Also, are there
Just not
do
on
they-
stream. We don't condone that.
Oh, no,
do
I
they
do.
make controllers for like laptops?
Yeah.
Yeah. Just go into your local Game Over video games. They have them there.
Or,
It's just easier than ordering. off
if you
Amazon.
want to order, Marsupial has one that I do recommend to people called the 8-Bit Dough, which kind of
Oh,
emulates...
8-bit dots are really good.
Yeah,
Well,
it
I
kind
don't
of
even think we have any of those over here. I think the only thing we ever had over here was like a GameStop.
Yeah,
Ugh.
GameStop won't have them. Yeah, no, 8-bit dough is really good.
Yeah, I'll get the link to you afterwards. It's a very good one. Speaking of, it is that time. So thanks everybody for coming on. It was a pleasure. And we will catch you.
Ooh.
Yeah. We'll catch
I know,
you on the
right?
next Vomitorium, which hopefully will be returning to normal schedule. We've had some snags. But
Also,
it looks to be doing
Marsupial died.
Yeah, actually, that may not be normal schedule if he actually did die, because he was the one that was returning it too.
Rest in peace, brother.
Yeah. Find out next time
really
on the
hope
Vomitorium the fate of Marsupial Gamer. We'll see you all later.
Ah!
You didn't say the, you didn't put the voice right.
Oh, you in Dragon Ball? Next time on the Vomitorium.